Chapter 650. Indeed, this place was very interesting. For the strong, it was heaven, but for the weak, it was hell. They had to live in fear. Otherwise, they would be killed at any time. In another restaurant, the waiter respectfully welcomed Lu Ming and his companion into the restaurant. There was a flattering smile on his face. The waiter was not even a martial grandmaster. In Jinsha Island, he was at the bottom. Anyone could kill him with one finger. Therefore, he lived in fear and trepidation. "Sir, what do you need? Just tell me," the waiter asked with a smile as he led Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing to a table on the second floor. "Just give us some wine and dishes." Lu Ming smiled and ordered some wine and dishes. "Sir, please wait a moment. It will be served soon." The waiter turned and ran back. Unexpectedly, he accidentally bumped into a big man. The big man's genuine vitality shook. The waiter stumbled back 5 or 6 steps and sat on the ground. "Boy, don't you have eyes? How dare you bump into me? I think you're tired of living." The big man had only one eye and was wearing an eye patch. He stared fiercely at the waiter. The waiter's face instantly turned pale without a trace of blood. He kneeled down in front of the one-eyed man and began to kowtow. He cried out, "Master, master, please spare my life. I didn't do it on purpose. Master, please spare my life." The waiter kowtowed. He did not dare to use his genuine qi to defend himself. After a while, blood flowed from his forehead. However, he did not dare to wipe it off. He continued to kowtow desperately. "Hee, spare your life? In your dreams. Since you don't look where you're going, I'll dig your eyes out and make you blind." The big man with one eye revealed a ferocious smile. The waiter's face was pale and full of despair. In Jinsha Island, with his cultivation, if he went blind, he would die. "Sir, please spare my life. Please spare my life this time." The waiter kowtowed desperately and begged bitterly. "Hee." The one-eyed man remained unmoved, and a fierce glint flashed across his eyes. One of his own eyes had been gouged out. Since then, he especially liked to gouge out other people's eyes. That way, he would feel the pleasure of revenge. Whoosh! The one-eyed man's 2 fingers pierced towards the waiter's eyes as fast as lightning. The burly man was a lesser perfection king, whereas the waiter was not even a martial ancestor realm cultivator. The difference between them was like heaven and earth, and it was impossible for the waiter to avoid them. Lu Ming frowned and raised his hand. A stream of jinyuan swept out and wrapped around the child. Then, he pulled the child back and dodged the one-eyed man's attack. The waiter was pulled to their table by Lu Ming. He was still in shock and trembled all over. The one-eyed man looked at Lu Ming and the others with a malevolent look in his eyes. Especially when he looked at Xian Yanqing, his eyes were full of lust. "Brat, you dare to meddle in my business? I think you're tired of living." The one-eyed man smiled ferociously and walked towards Lu Ming's group. The waiter was scared out of his wits. However, Lu Ming did not even look at the one-eyed man. He picked up his wine cup and slowly took a sip. "Ta! Ta!" The one-eyed man walked step by step to Lu Ming's table and said with a voice full of killing intent, "Brat, you're lucky today. Our brother Feng has taken a fancy to this girl and asked her to accompany him to drink. Also, if you cripple your own eyes, we'll forget about this matter and spare your life." Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He had long seen that the burly man's target was Xian Yanqing. As soon as they went upstairs, the one-eyed man's table looked at Xian Yanqing with burning eyes. Then, the one-eyed man got up and walked over. He deliberately stood behind the waiter, causing the waiter to bump into him. The one-eyed man did all this on purpose. He was just looking for an excuse to cause trouble. "Scram!" Lu Ming took a sip of wine and coldly spat out the word "scram." The one-eyed man's face changed and then became more ferocious. He said, "Brat, I wanted to spare your life, but you're courting death." Whoosh! Then, the one-eyed man's finger stabbed towards Lu Ming's eyes like a sword. Then, there was a shrill scream. Of course, it was not Lu Ming who screamed, but the one-eyed man. Lu Ming flicked his finger, and a spear light flashed, and blinded the one-eyed man's other eye. The one-eyed man covered his eye with his palm and blood flowed from his face. He roared and screamed like a wild beast. "Ah, kill, little bastard, I'll kill you! I'll kill your whole family!" The one-eyed man roared and rushed towards Lu Ming like a madman. In the next moment, the one-eyed man's body flew out of the window of the restaurant and fell heavily on the street outside the restaurant. His scream came to an abrupt end. The one-eyed man was dead. Boom! 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 At a table near the window, 3 men suddenly stood up and emitted a powerful and cold aura. The temperature in the restaurant dropped rapidly as if winter had arrived. The one-eyed man had been at the same table as these 3. "It's Gu Feng from the Lone Wolf Adventurer team. That brat is in danger. The one he just killed is Gu Feng's man. Gu Feng will definitely not let him go. That's for sure. The Lone Wolf Adventurer team is quite strong on Golden Sand Island. This Gu Feng is also used to being a tyrant. The key is his big brother, Lone Wolf, who is a peak king." Around them, other people whispered. Most of them were looking at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing with schadenfreude. Hearing the Lone Wolf Adventurer team, the waiter's face became even paler and his body trembled. It's over. Young master, please leave. Don't worry about me. My life is worthless. Don't lose your life because of me," the waiter said with a trembling voice. Lu Ming smiled faintly. This waiter was quite nice. He was clearly scared to death, but he still asked Lu Ming and the others to leave. "Don't worry." Lu Ming smiled with a calm expression. Pun! Right then, the 3 men had already arrived before Lu Ming and the others. The man in the front was in his 30s. His neck was a bit crooked, but his eyes were extremely cold. He stared at Lu Ming and said coldly, "Brat, you dared to kill our Lone Wolf Adventurer team's people. Today, I will make you wish you were dead." Then, he looked at Xian Yanqing. His eyes scanned Xian Yanqing's body, revealing his lust, and said, "Little girl, immediately draw the line between you and this brat. Then, follow me back and serve me well as my maid. This way, you can live comfortably on Golden Sand Island. Do you understand? Hurry up! Idiot!" Lu Ming took another sip of wine and said indifferently. Gu Feng's eyes shone with an ominous light as he looked at Lu Ming and said, "Brat, what did you say? I don't care what force you are from. When you come to Chaotic Astral Ocean and Golden Sand Island, even if you are a dragon, you will have to coil up." Chi! Before he finished speaking, Gu Feng attacked, his claw grabbing at Lu Ming's throat. Chapter 651. However, before Gu Feng's claws could reach Lu Ming, he was enveloped by a powerful force field. His movements immediately became as slow as a snail's. "You're so noisy. I can't even eat in peace. So annoying," Xian Yanqing said coldly. Gu Feng's face revealed a terrified expression. He wanted to turn around, but with a bang, he turned into a bloody mist. Yes, under the terrifying force field, he turned into a bloody mist. Not even his bones were left. Only a storage ring was left, and Xian Yanqing grabbed it. The others in the restaurant were shocked. Xian Yanqing's methods were truly evil. He didn't even move, but he turned Gu Feng into a bloody mist. It was so terrifying that it made one's scalp go numb. As for the 2 burly men who were with Gu Feng, their faces instantly became pale, without a trace of blood. You killed Gu Feng. Our captain won't let you go. Our captain is a peak-level king," one of them said with a trembling voice. "Oh, so you're saying that this battle is unavoidable?" Lu Ming asked. "That's right," the burly man replied. "Okay, then you guys stand there and wait for us to finish our meal," Lu Ming said lightly. He continued to pick up the wine glass and took a sip. Xian Yanqing was the same, but her face was a bit cold. The 2 burly men stood there. They wanted to leave, but they didn't dare. They could only look at each other and stand there, not knowing what Lu Ming was planning. A few minutes later, Lu Ming finished his meal and said to the waiter, "Little brother, you can go back to work." "Huh! The waiter was stunned. However, he still stared at the two Lone Wolves Adventure Team's men in fear. Don't worry. From now on, Golden Sand Island will no longer have the Lone Wolf Adventurer Group. Lu Ming smiled. The others were shocked. What did Lu Ming mean? They soon understood. Lu Ming looked at the two burly men and said, "Lead the way." What? The two men were stunned. "Lead the way to your Lone Wolf Adventurer Team's nest. Hurry up!" Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as killing intent filled the air. The two men shuddered. Lu Ming actually wanted to go to Lone Wolf's headquarters? What was he planning to do? Annihilate Lone Wolf? Could it be that this time, we've really provoked two fiends that we shouldn't have? The two men's hearts turned cold. Hurry up if you don't want to die immediately. The killing intent in Lu Ming's eyes grew even stronger. The two burly men's faces turned pale as they hurriedly nodded. No matter what, they would leave this matter to their leader, Lone Wolf, to handle. They secretly prayed that Lone Wolf would be able to kill Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. The two burly men led the way. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing headed towards Lone Wolf's lair. Let's go take a look. These two youngsters actually want to kill their way into Lone Wolf's headquarters. How shocking! They're so confident. They definitely have the ability to back it up. This time, Lone Wolf might have kicked an iron plate. I heard that many young geniuses from the eastern wilderness have entered the chaotic astral ocean to train. These two might very well be those geniuses. Looks like we'll have to keep a low profile when we see young people. The others in the restaurant discussed as they went down the restaurant and followed Lu Ming's group. Along the way, when others learned the truth, they also followed. In a short while, there were hundreds of people following behind them. There were many adventurer teams in the chaotic astral ocean. These adventurer teams would usually enter dangerous places to go on adventures and search for treasures. However, most adventurer teams would mainly act as guards for caravans and earn money. The Flame Trade Union had previously hired an adventurer team. The Lone Wolf Adventurer Team's lair was located in a mountain 3,000 miles west of the city. What's going on? Enemy attack. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, there was a loud shout in the lair of the Lone Wolf Adventurer Team. Lu Ming turned and understood. There were hundreds of people behind them. It was no wonder that the Lone Wolf Adventurer Team screamed in fright. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the next moment, beams of light flashed from the mountain. Over 100 people appeared in front of Lu Ming's group. The leader was a middle-aged man with a gloomy expression. His eyes flickered with ruthlessness. Leader, help! The two of them killed Brother Feng. The two men in front of Lu Ming yelled. The leader was Lone Wolf, the leader of Lone Wolf's adventurer team. What? Second brother is dead? Lone Wolf's eyes instantly turned red. Then he looked at Lu Ming with murderous intent and said in a cold voice, Brat, no matter what the reason is, I will skin you alive for killing my second brother. Also, Lone Wolf looked at Xian Yanqing and said, I will reward you to my brothers. They will take turns to serve you and let you have your fill. As soon as he said that, the members of Lone Wolf's adventurer team looked at Xian Yanqing with burning eyes. Oh, I wanted to explain to you why I killed your second brother. Looks like I don't need to anymore. Lu Ming smiled faintly. The chaotic astral ocean followed the law of survival. The strong preyed on the weak. Bullshit logic didn't work here. As long as one had strength, one had reason. Lu Ming quickly understood this point. Puff! Puff! Lu Ming flicked his finger and two spear lights shot out, killing the two men who were leading the way. Then, he stepped forward and walked toward Lone Wolf. Die! Lone Wolf's eyes turned cold. A huge wolf appeared above his head and a violent and bloodthirsty aura exploded. Swoosh! Both of Lone Wolf's legs kicked in the air. His figure immediately turned into phantoms, pouncing toward Lu Ming at an alarming speed. Lu Ming remained calm. A long spear appeared in his hand. He waved his arm and the long spear shot out like a bolt of lightning. In the next moment, a shrill cry was heard and a figure was pushed back. It was Lone Wolf. At this moment, his eyes were filled with disbelief. His chest had been pierced by a long spear. The powerful destructive force had already completely destroyed his internal organs. One move, just one casual move, and the long spear had pierced his heart. That spear was too fast and too sharp. He couldn't dodge it at all. Clang! The powerful force of the long spear sent Lone Wolf flying a few thousand meters away. He was pinned to a cliff on the mountain. Lone Wolf was dead. The people who came to watch were dumbfounded and shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength was beyond everyone's expectations. He was too strong. Lone Wolf couldn't fight back at all. Who is he? Is he a peerless talent on the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness? I don't know. I don't know his name. Shocked discussions could be heard one after another. The people from the Lone Wolf adventurer team were horrified. Their team leader, a peak-level expert, Lone Wolf, had been killed in one move. Run! They immediately turned and ran. Don't even think about leaving! Xian Yanqing stepped into the air and pressed his palm down. The Sky Demon force field exploded and enveloped the more than 100 people from the Lone Wolf adventurer team. A destructive force was produced. In the next moment, all of them were killed. Their bodies fell to the ground like raindrops. Chapter 652. CSI. The sound of people sucking in cold breaths could be heard. Those who were watching the battle widened their eyes in shock. They were not shocked by the death of over 100 people. In the chaotic astral ocean, it was normal for people to die all the time. They were shocked by the strength of Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. One killed a peak king in one move. The other killed over 100 experts with a wave of his hand. Among them, there was no lack of martial king realm greater success kings. The strength of the two was very shocking. Those who had coveted Xian Yanqing's beauty felt a chill in their hearts. They were glad that they did not attack. Otherwise, they would be the ones who died. Now, the way they looked at Xian Yanqing was no longer filled with passion and greed. Instead, there was only fear and terror. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the crowd. Everyone's expression fell into his eyes. Lu Ming had a deeper understanding of the word riot in the chaotic astral ocean. In the chaotic astral ocean, if you were merciful, everyone would bully you. However, if you were more ruthless than others, everyone would be afraid of you. Lu Ming's figure flickered as he devoured the essence blood of all the Lone Wolf adventurer team members. Let's go! Then, he left with Xian Yanqing. Soon, the two returned to the city. They planned to find an inn to stay in and buy a map of the chaotic astral ocean. Then, they would find a suitable place to train. When the two returned to the city, they saw many people flying in one direction. Let's go to the Fate Battle platform. King Yama has attacked again. This time, his opponent is the 7 Zen Old Monster. What? King Yama and the 7 Zen Old Monster are going to fight? The 7 Zen Old Monster has not fought for many years. Let's go and see. This battle is going to be exciting. One by one, the figures quickly flew in a certain direction. Fate Battle platform? Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were stunned and curious. It seemed like a battle between two experts. What kind of experts could attract so many people to watch? Let's go take a look. Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming. That's what I was thinking. Lu Ming smiled. Following which, the two of them followed the crowd and walked forward. After a while, they arrived in front of a huge building. The building was round and huge. As they approached, they could hear loud cheers and roars coming from inside. Could it be that the great battle has already begun? I won't be late, right? Hurry up and go in. Many people flew towards the entrance of the building. 200 top-grade spiritual crystals per person. Someone stood guard at the entrance, blocking everyone and shouting, "This is my spiritual crystal. Take it." Many people paid the spiritual crystals and rushed into the building. However, there were too many people and they needed to line up. There are so many people here. It seems that the King of Hell and the 7 Zen Old Monster are not ordinary people. Lu Ming thought. After a while, it was their turn. The two of them walked in. The inside of the building was round. In the middle was a huge fighting ring that was a few miles long and wide. Around it were ring-shaped spectator stands. There were more than 100 levels and it could seat at least a few 100,000 people. After the two of them walked in, they found that at least 100,000 people were sitting on the spectator stands. The fighting ring was empty. There was no one at all, only a pool of blood. What's going on? Where is everyone? Isn't the battle between the King of Hell and the 7-Zen-old monster? Why don't I see anyone? Yeah, where is he? The people who came in later cried out. Where is he? He's only here now. Where is he? The battle is over. Someone said. What? The battle is over? What's the result? Who won? The King of Hell won. The King of Hell and the 7-Zen-old monster exchanged 100 blows. In the end, the 7-Zen-old monster was killed by the King of Hell's sword. I'm late. How unlucky. 200 top-grade spiritual crystals were wasted. Let's watch the other battles. Many people who came late sighed and found a seat. Young Master Lu, Miss Ye. Suddenly, Lu Ming heard a feminine voice. Luo Xin. He turned around and saw a young woman walking toward him. It was Luo Xin. Beside Luo Xin were two people. One was Qin Zhao, and the other was in his 30s. He had a tall and sturdy body and looked similar to Qin Zhao. Miss Luo. Lu Ming smiled. Young Master Lu, Miss Ye, what a coincidence. Are you here to watch the Fate Battle Ring as well? Luo Xin smiled. Yes, but it seems like we missed it, Lu Ming said. Yeah, the King of Hell is a peak expert who has risen recently. He has never lost a battle between peaked kings. He has won 19 times in a row. Including this battle, he has won 20 times in a row. As for the 7-Zen-old monster, he has lived for nearly 800 years. After cultivating for so many years, his battle strength is extremely terrifying. He has almost no opponents among peaked kings. He has also won 19 times in a row on the Fate Battle Ring. Many people are looking forward to the battle between the two. Who would have thought that this battle would come so suddenly? It's a pity that we missed it, Luo Xin said with a trace of pity. A battle between peaked kings? 19 consecutive victories? Lu Ming's interest was piqued. Young Master Lu, Miss Ye, there should be other battles coming up. Let's find a place to sit down, Luo Xin said. Then, they found a row of empty seats and sat down. On the side, Qin Zhao's face was gloomy, and he did not speak. Whoosh! At this moment, a figure rushed onto the battle ring. It was a bald old man with the aura of a 7th-layer martial king. Who will fight with me? The bald old man shouted. I'll kill you! A bald man rushed onto the battle ring and also revealed his cultivation of a 7th-layer martial king. Haha, is that so? Your storage ring is mine now! The bald old man sneered. I should be the one saying that. I've taken a fancy to your storage ring. The bald man sneered. A battle sword appeared in his hand and he attacked the bald old man. The bald old man took out an iron rod and met the attack. Boom! Boom! The two of them engaged in an intense battle. However, after a few dozen moves, the bald old man had gained the upper hand. Ha ha, die! The bald old man laughed, and his iron rod attacked the bald man like a storm. The bald man retreated step by step. After a dozen or so moves, the bald old man's stick landed on the bald man's chest. The bald man let out a blood-curdling scream as the sound of bones breaking resounded from his body. He was sent flying back and crashed onto the battle stage, blood spurting out from his mouth. I admit defeat! I admit defeat! The bald man shouted. Admit defeat? It's too late to admit defeat now. Die! The bald man shouted and flew up. The iron rod hit the bald man's head, and the bald man's brain burst open. He died on the spot. Ha ha! The storage ring is mine! Chapter 653. What's there to be happy about? Your storage ring isn't mine yet. Following a cold harumph, an old oaf fei went up to the fighting ring. This old Fei was wearing a red robe, and his aura was also at the 7th layer martial emperor realm. It's Grandma Safflower. She's going to fight. She's a ruthless person who has already won 5 rounds in a row among the 7th layer martial emperor realm. That's right. Every time she sees a big harvest, she will take action. That bald old man just got the storage ring of the LV7 Martial King Warrior. Now, as long as we kill the bald old man, we can get 2 storage rings. Let's see if the old bald man dares to accept the challenge. Every time Grandma Safflower's opponent dies miserably. As soon as Old O went up to the fighting ring, the crowd exclaimed, "Safflower Grandma!" The old bald man's expression changed greatly. Die! Safflower Grandma wore a cold expression as she was about to attack with a strong murderous intent. Wait! Wait, I surrender. I don't want to fight. The old bald man blurted out. You don't want to fight? Safflower Grandma's expression darkened as she said, Give me 200,000 top-grade spiritual crystals. What a coward! The old bald man took out 200,000 top-grade spiritual crystals from his storage ring and handed them to Safflower Grandma. He then left the fighting ring and flew to the spectator stand. Is there anyone who wants to fight me? Safflower Grandma put away the spiritual crystals and scanned the crowd. However, no one went up to the fighting ring. Safflower Grandma was extremely powerful at the 7th layer martial emperor realm. Who would want to fight her? After waiting for a while, Safflower Grandma left the fighting ring after seeing that no one was willing to fight her. Interesting. Miss Luo, what are the rules of the Fate fighting ring? Lu Ming asked Luo Xin. It's your first time here, so it's normal that you don't know. Let me explain it to you. Luo Xin smiled faintly and said, As the name suggests, the Fate battle stage is a battle of life and death. As long as you step onto the stage, it's a battle of life and death. The winner will win all of the opponent's possessions, while the loser will not only lose his life, he will also lose all of his possessions and his storage ring will belong to the loser. Lu Ming explained. Then how could that bald old man admit defeat? Lu Ming asked. There's a rule in the Fate battle platform. Those with a higher cultivation level cannot challenge those with a lower cultivation level. Of course, those with a lower cultivation level can challenge those with a higher cultivation level. Once you step onto the Fate battle platform, you can't refuse to accept the challenge. However, you can admit defeat before the battle starts. That way, as long as you give your opponent a certain amount of spirit crystals, you can avoid the battle. Just like when Red Flower Granny challenged the bald old man. The bald old man knew that he was no match for Red Flower Granny, so he admitted defeat before the battle began. As long as he paid Red Flower Granny 200,000 supreme spiritual crystals, he could step down. If he admitted defeat after the battle began, Red Flower Granny could refuse to accept the payment until Red Flower Granny defeated or killed Red Flower Granny. Of course, the higher one's cultivation, the greater the price of surrendering. If a Peak King surrenders before the battle begins, he or she will have to pay 1 million extreme-grade spirit crystals to the opponent. Luo Xin explained to Lu Ming in detail. Doesn't that mean the death rate is very high? Lu Ming asked. Of course, after the battle begins, the death rate is as high as 80 to 90%. Only a few people can escape with their lives. Luo Xin said. Lu Ming was inwardly shocked. The death rate was as high as 80 to 90%. Basically, if one went up, they would either win or die. Miss, why are you telling him so much? A young master from a large faction like him wouldn't dare to step onto the Fate battle platform. This is a true life and death battle. It's not a spar between fellow disciples. What's at stake is one's life and one's entire fortune. On the side, Qin Zhao revealed a mocking expression as he spoke with disdain. Last time, Lu Ming had caused him to lose face, and he still held a grudge against him. Oh? Then you dare to go up? Lu Ming looked at Qin Zhao. Qin Zhao's expression stiffened as he said, What do you know? My brother has won 6 consecutive battles on the Fate battle platform, and he's a peaked martial emperor too. He's a lot stronger than the peak martial emperor of the blood evil pirate group. If my brother was here last time, he would have easily defeated his opponent in a few moves. Qin Zhao switched the topic and pointed at the bulky man in his 30s standing beside him. Why are you mentioning your brother? I'm talking about you. You're a 7th layer martial emperor too, right? If you're so strong, why didn't you challenge Madame Safflower? Lu Ming continued to ask. Chen Zhao's expression stiffened as his face reddened. His strength was considered ordinary among the 7th layer martial emperors. Wasn't it the same as courting death? However, there was no way he could refute the fact that Lu Ming had pointed out. Interesting. On the side, Xian Yanqing mumbled with an intrigued expression. Lu Ming let out a smile as his eyes flickered with interest too. Lu Ming was more interested in the fact that he was betting his entire fortune on this battle. Although he had obtained 80 million supreme-grade spiritual crystals from the elders of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution, he had already used up 18 million to break through to the peak martial emperor realm. He only had 60 million left. 60 million seemed like a lot, but it was far from enough for Lu Ming. These spiritual crystals wouldn't be enough to break through to the Sea of Soul realm in the future. The Sea of Soul realm required one to open a spiritual sea, a true Yuan sea. The amount of energy required to open a true Yuan sea was simply too much. A martial artist at the first layer of the Sea of Soul realm could store 10 times more true Yuan than a peak martial emperor. Lu Ming needed 18 million supreme-grade spiritual crystals to break through to the peak martial emperor realm. Lu Ming estimated that he would need at least 300 million supreme-grade spiritual crystals to break through to the Sea of Soul realm. This was just a conservative estimate. In reality, he might need even more. 300 million supreme-grade spiritual crystals was still too far away from him. Therefore, he needed to accumulate more supreme-grade spiritual crystals. The Fate Battle stage was a good channel for that. Moreover, he could use it to train his martial skills and devour his opponent's essence blood to increase his bloodline grade. Lu Ming's gaze once again turned to the Fate Battle stage. At this moment, another person stepped onto the Fate Battle stage. He didn't hold back at all as his aura spread out. It was a peak martial emperor. The atmosphere became lively again. Sea of Soul realm martial artists rarely participated in this kind of battle. As for peak martial emperors, they stood at the peak of martial emperors. Every battle would attract the interest of many martial artists. Who will fight with me? This peak martial emperor was a burly man in his 40s. He looked around. Let me! A white-haired old man stepped onto the stage and faced the burly man. Without saying anything else, the two started fighting. Violent energy spread out in all directions. It was terrifying to the extreme. However, a light screen rose up around the fighting ring, blocking the energy that shot out in all directions. Clearly, there was a powerful inscription array on the stage to prevent the audience from being injured. The battle was intense. The two peak martial emperors weren't weak at all. They weren't any weaker than the scarred man from the blood evil pirate group. Chapter 654. However, after exchanging more than 20 moves, the white-haired old man suddenly erupted with power and killed the middle-aged man in one fell swoop, seizing his storage ring. So strong! Is this old man a steamed spirit turtle from Golden Turtle Island? That's him. I didn't expect him to come to Golden Sand Island as well. No wonder he's so strong. A steamed spirit turtle has been in seclusion for many years. His battle strength is unfathomable. I wonder who will challenge him next? Discussions broke out all around. This esteemed spirit turtle is indeed not bad. Lu Ming nodded. He could see that esteemed spirit turtle's sudden eruption should be some kind of secret art that could increase one's battle strength. Among peak kings it was not bad. Not bad? Hee, what a big tone. You speak as if you're very strong. On the side, Qin Zhao revealed a disdainful smile. Lu Ming was speechless. Was this guy crazy? Wasn't it just because he didn't fight that time? Since then, he had been targeting him. Lu Ming directly ignored such a narrow-minded person, not even looking at Chen Zhao. Seeing that Lu Ming ignored him, Chen Zhao's face turned even uglier. Who will fight me? Esteemed Spirit Turtle looked around. For a moment, no one spoke. Hee, looks like no one is going to fight? Esteemed Spirit Turtle sneered. Let me! At this moment, Chen Zhao's big brother stood up, and a powerful aura spread out. Chen Zhao's big brother was called Chen Dao. Chen Dao took a step forward and appeared on the fate battle stage. It's Chen Dao. Chen Dao is going to fight. This is going to be interesting. Chen Dao has 7 consecutive victories and is extremely powerful. He's a general of the Flame Commerce firm. Haha, if he fights Esteemed Spirit Turtle, it will definitely be intense. Chen Dao's appearance made many people excited. Big brother is going to fight. Chen Zhao's eyes lit up. He then looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, let's wait and see. Let's see how powerful my brother is. Let's see how powerful a peak-level king can be. However, he discovered that Lu Ming had ignored him again, which made him rather depressed. Young man, you have guts. You dare to challenge me? Esteemed Spirit Turtle looked at Chen Dao and said coldly, Are you going to fight or surrender? Chen Dao's reply was simple but full of confidence. What big words! I've been in seclusion for dozens of years. Youngsters nowadays are getting more and more arrogant. Let me teach you how to respect your elders. Bang! As soon as he finished speaking, Lord Spirit Turtle dashed towards Chen Dao at lightning speed. At the same time, a powerful aura erupted from his body. It was that kind of secret technique. Although the Spirit Turtle spoke arrogantly and confidently, when it actually attacked, it used its full strength, not daring to underestimate its opponent at all. Those who dared to challenge him despite knowing his reputation, how could they be weaklings? He had lived for hundreds of years, and he knew this very well. A powerful fist force blasted towards Chen Dao. However, Chen Dao didn't move at all. When Esteemed Spirit Turtle's fist force approached him, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he moved. If he moved, he would draw his saber. A dazzling saber light lit up, seemingly slicing the space into 2 halves. Esteemed Spirit Turtle's fist force was also split in half. His face turned pale with fright as he frantically retreated to avoid the blade. However, this was only the beginning of Chen Dao's attack. Kill! Chen Dao yelled with a terrifying aura. A pale white saber light lit up again, this time stronger and sharper than the previous one. It instantly sliced through the void and slashed towards Esteemed Spirit Turtle. Not good! Esteemed Spirit Turtle was shocked. He waved his fists, and a thick turtle shell formed in front of him to block the attack. Clang! The blade light landed on the tortoise shell, causing it to vibrate violently. A crack appeared on the shell. Before Esteemed Spirit Turtle could even take a breath, Chen Dao had already launched the 3rd blade strike, followed by the 4th, the 5th, one slash after another, each stronger than the previous one. It was endless as it slashed towards Esteemed Spirit Turtle. When the 7th slash was unleashed, Esteemed Spirit Turtle's turtle shell exploded, and the saber light flashed by. Then, Chen Dao sheathed his saber without any hesitation. Esteemed Spirit Turtle's eyes were wide open. A trail of blood appeared from his glabella and extended downwards. Poochie! Esteemed Spirit Turtle fell and was split in half. Esteemed Spirit Turtle was dead. Deafening cheers burst out from the crowd. Chen Dao had killed Esteemed Spirit Turtle and achieved 8 consecutive victories. It was rare to see someone win 8 consecutive battles. This meant that 8 peak-level kings had died at Chen Dao's hands. Hee, did you see that? This is my big brother's strength. Chen Zhao glanced at Lu Ming proudly. Not bad, Lu Ming said calmly. He did think that Chen Dao was not bad. Chen Dao's battle strength was probably close to Saint Star's. Of course, Chen Dao was already in his 30s, 10 years older than Saint Star. He had spent 10 more years cultivating martial arts, intent realm, and physical body. In terms of potential, he was no match for Saint Star. The list of top 1,000 talents of the Eastern Wilderness selected youths under the age of 30. Not only did it look at cultivation, but it also looked at talent, the ability to fight above one's level, and potential. Some powerful forces had abundant resources and could produce a group of young peak-level kings, but these people could not make it onto the list of top 1,000 talents. You're really boasting. How many peak-level kings can match my big brother's battle strength? Chen Zhao sneered. Frog in a well! It was not Lu Ming who spoke, but Xian Yanqing. What did you say? Chen Zhao's face turned red. Someone's going to challenge him. Lu Ming ignored Chen Zhao and looked at the fighting ring. Chen Zhao also looked over. A young man in a blood-red robe stepped onto the fighting ring. He was about 26 or 27 years old. His face was cold, and there was a faint sneer at the corner of his mouth. Humph, you're overestimating yourself. How dare you challenge my big brother? You're courting death again. Chen Zhao laughed sarcastically. However, Chen Dao, who was standing in the fighting ring, had a grave expression on his face. The young man was just standing there casually, but he felt like he was facing a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Moreover, the young man was not even 30 years old, yet he dared to step onto the fighting ring. He was definitely not simple. How should I address you? Chen Dao asked. Shui Gang. The young man's face darkened. Shui Gang. Chen Dao thought for a moment, and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He had thought that the young man might be a peerless genius on the list of top 1,000 talents in the eastern wilderness. If he was really a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents, he would have to consider whether to accept the challenge or not. However, Shui Gang's name was not on the list of top 1,000 talents. Obviously, the young man was not on the list of top 1,000 talents. Fight or surrender? Shui Gang's gloomy voice rang out. Fight. Chen Dao replied firmly. Good. I was afraid that you would surrender. Shui Gang licked his lips, and the gloominess in his eyes deepened. Boom! The next moment, Shui Gang's blood-chi rushed into the sky. A huge blood-red palm floated above his head, surrounded by 7 silver chakras. A 7th-grade king-level bloodline. Chen Dao's expression changed. Those who could reach the 7th-grade king-level bloodline were definitely peerless geniuses. For example, Qin Qi Shan and Xing Xingchen were both 7th-grade king-level. Chapter 655. Blood Flame Palm. Shui Gang struck out with his palm, causing the air to explode and even turn into liquid. A blood-red palm print blasted towards Chen Dao. Clang! Chen Dao struck out with his saber. The saber light was extremely dazzling. However, this time, Chen Dao's saber light did not split the blood-red palm print. Instead, the saber light was scattered by the palm print. Chen Dao's expression changed as he roared furiously. The second saber strike was even stronger than the first. However, Shui Gang's blood-red palm print arrived again, one after another. It was extremely overbearing. Chen Dao struck out continuously. The 6th strike, the 7th strike, soon, it was the 7th strike. Previously, he had used the 7th strike to kill a steamed spirit turtle. However, he was still at a disadvantage after using the 7th strike. Chen Dao roared furiously as the 8th and 9th strikes were unleashed. The saber light was dazzling as it split the palm print. However, there were countless palm prints that followed, endless. After the 9th strike, Chen Dao's body frantically retreated. Bloodline martial skill. That's an upper heaven class bloodline martial skill. Chen Dao is going to be defeated. A white-haired old man in the stands exclaimed in surprise. What? He actually comprehended a bloodline martial skill? Many people were shocked. Bloodline martial skill? Lu Ming muttered. A bloodline martial skill was a martial skill that a martial artist comprehended from their own bloodline. A martial artist's bloodline contained endless wealth. It was not as simple as a bloodline eruption. A martial artist comprehended from their own bloodline was a martial skill that truly belonged to them. It was the most compatible with them. It was easy to cultivate, and extremely powerful. Cultivating someone else's martial skill was ultimately someone else's. How could it be compared to one's own bloodline martial skill? For example, if two warriors both cultivated a heaven-grade upper-grade martial skill to the 6th level, but one of them cultivated a bloodline martial skill that was comprehended from his own bloodline, then the power of the bloodline martial skill would be at least 50% stronger than the other person's martial skill, or even 100% stronger. The difference was too big. However, it was too difficult to comprehend a bloodline martial skill from one's own bloodline. It required exceptional talent. Furthermore, the higher the grade of one's bloodline, the stronger the bloodline martial skill one could comprehend. Not only could one comprehend a martial skill from one's own bloodline, but they could also comprehend a secret skill called a bloodline secret skill. For example, Qin Qi Shan and Xing Xingchen, whom Lu Ming had seen, had comprehended a bloodline secret skill. As for Xian Yanqing, when he struck, a beautiful arm would appear and strike towards his opponent. That was a bloodline martial skill. However, until now, Lu Ming had yet to comprehend a bloodline martial skill. Firstly, the 9-dragon bloodline was not his own bloodline. It was awakened from a drop of 9-dragon essence blood. It was very difficult to comprehend a bloodline martial skill from it. In fact, the devouring power could be considered a unique bloodline secret skill of the 9 dragons' bloodline. And bloodline martial skill was bloodline. This was especially so for those with special bloodlines. The bloodline martial techniques they comprehended were even more powerful. This was especially true for nature-type bloodlines. For example, the fire-type bloodline could comprehend a fire-type martial skill, which could be combined with the fire-type intent. This was something that other bloodlines could not compare to. Shui Gang comprehended the blood intent. Combined with a blood-related martial skill, it was extremely powerful. Die! Shui Gang strode forward. The blood intent spread out and enveloped Qin Dao. Qin Dao even had a feeling that the blood in his body was slowly drying up. The blood intent was a special intent. It was extremely powerful and domineering. If one was hit by Shui Gang's attack, it could directly devour the opponent's blood, causing the opponent's blood to dry up and die. Break! Qin Dao's saber light slashed out again, but it was useless. He was completely suppressed. Big brother, how can this be? How can this be? Qin Zhao's face was pale. He was extremely worried. His big brother was his backer. He was only a guard of the Flame Merchant Guild. Because of his big brother, he had a special status in the Flame Merchant Guild, allowing him to approach Luo Xian and even pursue her. If his big brother were to die, he would be nothing in the chaotic astral ocean as an ordinary 7th-layer martial emperor realm cultivator. He would only be an ordinary guard of the Flame Merchant Guild. His big brother was everything to him. Now, his big brother was in danger. Big brother Qin Dao! Luo Xian clenched her fists together in a nervous manner. Qin Dao was one of the generals of the Flame Merchant Guild. He could even be considered the strongest expert in the Flame Merchant Guild. If Qin Dao were to die, the Flame Merchant Guild would suffer a great loss. What should I do? What should I do? Luo Xian was extremely anxious. Bang! Bang! Shui Gang's attacks grew stronger. Qin Dao was already worn out. I give up! Qin Dao yelled. Give up? I won't allow it! Shui Gang let out a hollow laugh. Don't think you can kill me! Seeing that it was impossible to give up, Qin Dao let out a roar. His hair danced wildly as his aura rose slightly. He merged with his saber and turned into a brilliant saber glow that soared into the sky. Qin Dao was planning to escape. Trying to escape? Not so easy! Shui Gang turned into a crimson ray and chased after Qin Dao, lashing out with his palm. Bang! Qin Dao was hit by the palm, causing him to cough up a mouthful of blood. However, he could not care less about his injuries as he fled toward the spectator stands. Shui Gang chased after him. I'll give you 2 million top-grade spiritual crystals. Let me go. Otherwise, you won't be able to kill me. Qin Dao yelled and began to beg for mercy. He turned into a saber glow and fled in all directions. Coward, 5 million top-grade spiritual crystals, not one less! Shui Gang roared. 5 million it is! Saving his own life was more important, so Chen Dao tossed a storage ring to Shui Gang. Shui Gang caught it and scanned it with his mind before stopping his pursuit. You're lucky. How boring! Shui Gang did not chase after him and returned to the fighting ring. Chen Dao turned into a saber glow and flew back to the spectator stands. He took out a handful of pills and swallowed them, starting to heal his injuries on the spot. Luo Xian and Chen Zhao heaved a sigh of relief as they survived. Although the process was embarrassing. There's always someone better than you, Lu Ming said softly. Chen Zhao's face turned red. Lu Ming's words were obviously meant for him. Humph, my big brother has won 8 consecutive battles. What's so strange about meeting someone stronger? If you go up, you'll probably die in 2 battles. Chen Zhao was still stubborn. Is that so? Lu Ming smiled faintly and said to Xian Yanqing, Let's go! Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming in surprise, then followed Lu Ming out. Humph, a coward won't dare to go up! Chen Zhao mocked. Whoosh! Lu Ming suddenly turned around and slapped out. Pa! The slap landed on Chen Zhao's face, causing blood and teeth to splatter. One side of Chen Zhao's face instantly swelled up. Chapter 656. Slap! Lu Ming turned his hand and slapped Chen Zhao on the other side of his face. Lu Ming controlled his strength very well and did not send Chen Zhao flying. Immediately, the other side of his face swelled up. If you keep blabbering, I'll kill you and your brother right now, Lu Ming said coldly. Chen Zhao immediately shut up. His brother was recovering from his injuries. If Lu Ming really killed him, the 2 of them would be finished. Luo Xian did not say anything. She also felt that Chen Zhao had gone too far. He had been targeting Lu Ming. Lu Ming was already being kind by not killing him. Lu Ming smiled faintly and then turned to leave. Seeing Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing disappear from the spectator stands, Chen Zhao's eyes were filled with resentment. He growled, Little bastard, when my brother recovers, I'll pay you back tenfold for what you did today. Luo Xian shook her head secretly. How could such a person pursue her? If it weren't for Chen Dao, Luo Xian would not have bothered with him. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing walked out and strolled on a street. I thought you were going to fight Shui Gang, Xian Yanqing said. Do you think I'll be provoked by that idiot? How is that possible? This is a good place. If I go down and defeat Shui Gang, many people won't dare to fight. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Oh? What's your plan? Xian Yanqing asked. Of course I'll fight them one by one. I can practice my fist technique and earn spiritual crystals. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Lu Ming smiled. Then, his eyes lit up and he walked into a mask shop. I understand. Xian Yanqing smiled and followed him in. After that, Lu Ming bought an Azure mask, and Xian Yanqing bought a Yiksha mask. After buying the masks, they each bought a set of black robes and put them on. Then, they walked towards the Fate Battle stage and paid 200 top-grade spirit crystals each. Lu Ming put on the Azure mask, while Xian Yanqing put on the Yiksha mask. At this moment, Shui Gang had already left the battle platform. Presumably, no one else would challenge him. Who's going first? Lu Ming whispered to Xian Yanqing. Anything is fine. Then I'll go first. With that, Lu Ming appeared on the fighting ring. Someone else is on the stage. What's his cultivation level this time? Seeing that someone was going up the stage, the audience's spirits were lifted. They had spent 200 spiritual crystals of the highest quality just to watch the battle. If there was no one to fight, wouldn't the spiritual crystals be wasted? At this moment, Lu Ming's aura spread out, telling everyone that he was a peak-level king. Another peak-level king is going up. What's wrong with him? He's coming up as soon as Shui Gang left. Isn't he afraid that Shui Gang will challenge him? I don't think so. Shui Gang would at least wait for his opponent to fight once or twice. If his opponent is too weak, I don't think Shui Gang will fight. Shui Gang is definitely a rising talent. He's too strong. If the list of top 1,000 talents is rearranged, he might be able to make it up. There was a burst of discussion in the surroundings. Who's going to fight me? Lu Ming looked around and shouted. As soon as Lu Ming's voice sounded, Qin Zhao and Luo Xian's expressions changed. Lu Ming didn't change his voice. They could tell that it was Lu Ming's voice. That kid is finally going up. He's wearing a mask. Let's see how many rounds he can win. I hope he doesn't die in the first round. Qin Zhao sneered. Luo Xian frowned and ignored Qin Zhao. She looked curiously at the figure in the fighting ring. She did not know why, but she felt that Lu Ming was not simple. Perhaps Lu Ming could give everyone a surprise? Luo Xian couldn't help but look forward to it. I'll kill you! A big-eyed old man stepped into the air and stood in front of Lu Ming. Kid, don't think that you can scare people by wearing a Shura mask. The Fate Battle Ring depends on one's combat strength. Your storage ring is mine. The big-eyed old man smiled sinisterly. I hope you can take a few more blows. Lu Ming said lightly. Kid, what did you say? The big-eyed old man was stunned. I told you to stop talking nonsense. Take this. Lu Ming said softly as he threw a punch at the big-eyed old man. Let's see what you've got. A battle axe appeared in the hands of the elder with big eyes. With one strike, he split Lu Ming's fist force into two halves. However, before he could rejoice, the next fist force attacked him. He could only slash his battle axe once again. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming's left and right fists worked. Fist gleams shot out continuously, like meteors streaking across the void. The big-eyed old man's combat strength was not bad. He was stronger than the Peak King of the Blood Evil Pirate group. However, he was still suppressed by Lu Ming. This was the result of Lu Ming suppressing his true origin. Lu Ming was using him to practice his punches. In the past, as long as Lu Ming had spirit crystals in the Temple of Paragon, he could create a figure that looked exactly like him to spar with and practice martial arts. However, as his cultivation rose to the Martial King realm, that ability became useless. It was just an inscription array, which was set up by the Nine Sun Sovereign after he was severely injured. Its power was limited. However, after Lu Ming reached the Martial King realm, his energy was too great. His attack power was even more terrifying. The array could not be replicated. Therefore, Lu Ming had to find his own opponent to practice his martial skills. The big-eyed old man was suppressed by Lu Ming's punch. He roared furiously. No matter how strong his cultivation was, no matter what powerful martial skills he used, he was suppressed by Lu Ming. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. The big-eyed old man was finally afraid. He shouted and admitted defeat. I won't allow it. A faint voice sounded from Lu Ming's mouth. You won't allow it? Don't think you can kill me. The big-eyed old man roared furiously. He shot up into the sky and tried to escape like Chen Dao. You can't escape. Boom! Lu Ming's vital essence increased and his fist force became more ferocious. He threw a punch and the air in front of the fist force was completely sucked dry, forming a vacuum passageway. The ferocious fist force collided with the battle axe of the big-eyed elder and exploded. The big-eyed elder roared and spat out blood. His body fell. Lu Ming's subsequent fist force bombarded him again. Bang! Bang! After a few punches, the big-eyed old man screamed and his body exploded. He died on the spot. Whoosh! Lu Ming moved and devoured the blood essence of the big-eyed old man. He also took his storage ring. He won. On the spectator stand, Luo Xian revealed a hint of excitement. Humph, he only won one round. That big-eyed old man's combat strength is not high. He is much weaker than my big brother. Qin Zhao curled his lips. You can shut up now. At the side, Qin Dao coldly glanced at Qin Zhao as he berated. His injuries had already stabilized. Qin Zhao's face changed and he immediately shut up. Who else wants to fight? Chapter 657. Lu Ming looked around and said in a clear voice, "I'll go!" A red-haired man stepped into the air and flew onto the stage. "Someone has indeed made a move!" Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. He had suppressed his true yuan so that he wasn't much stronger than the big-eyed old man. His goal was to attract the attention of others. If he was too strong, who would dare to go on stage? Now, the red-haired man stepped onto the stage. "What's your name?" the red-haired man asked. "Shura," Lu Ming replied indifferently. "Shura? Hee hee! Kill!" All of a sudden, the red-haired burly man attacked. A flaming saber gleam that was 1,000 meters long slashed violently at Lu Ming. Exploding Star Fist! Lu Ming punched out, and the explosive fist energy clashed with the opponent's saber light, causing the stage to tremble. Pun! Lu Ming's fist energy was actually shattered, and the blazing saber light continued to slash down at Lu Ming. Die! The red-haired man's body was covered in blazing flames, and his expression was savage. Not bad! Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. This red-haired man was much stronger than the big-eyed old man. No wonder he dared to go on stage. Then I'll add 2 more points. Lu Ming smiled and punched out again. Boom! This fist energy was twice as strong as the previous one, and it pierced through the red-haired man's saber light. The fist energy didn't stop there, and it continued on toward the red-haired man. Ah! You were hiding your strength! The red-haired man roared and revealed a terrified expression. He used all his strength and slashed out with his saber. However, the result was the same. Just like the big-eyed old man, he was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. After dozens of moves, Lu Ming killed him with one punch. Exploding Star Fist, nearing the 3rd level. Lu Ming muttered as he put away the interspatial ring and devoured the red-haired man's essence blood. After devouring the essence blood of 2 Pictor kings, the 9 dragons' bloodline rumbled. Refine! Lu Ming stood on the battle platform and began to refine the essence blood while waiting for others to challenge him. The surroundings fell silent. For a moment, no one stepped forward. Although Lu Ming had killed 2 people in a row and obtained their storage rings, and as long as they killed him, the rewards would definitely be huge, Lu Ming's battle prowess was still unknown to the others. Humph! Chen Zhao snorted coldly, his expression ugly. He said that it would be good if Lu Ming could win 1 round, but now, Lu Ming had won 2 rounds in a row, which made him very unhappy. 2 minutes. Lu Ming stood on the platform for 2 minutes. The essence blood of the 9 dragons' bloodline was used by Lu Ming to improve his 2nd bloodline. The 9 dragons' bloodline needed a lot of blood essence to reach the 9th tier of the king class. Lu Ming planned to upgrade his 2nd bloodline to the 8th tier of the king class before upgrading the 9 dragons' bloodline. Whoosh! At this moment, a figure rushed onto the fighting ring. It was a tall and thin middle-aged man. Everyone was refreshed. Finally, someone else came onto the platform. Lu Ming looked at the middle-aged man. Azura, your fist strength is powerful, but as long as I don't take it head-on, I'll see what you can do. Before he finished speaking, the middle-aged man moved and turned into phantoms, pouncing on Lu Ming. By the time he finished speaking, the tall and thin man had turned into 18 phantoms, surrounding Lu Ming. Sharp sword chi pierced the air and stabbed toward Lu Ming's vital parts. 18 phantoms and 18 streaks of sword chi were extremely sharp. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming punched several times in a row, hitting several phantoms. Those phantoms collapsed and disappeared. Phantoms! Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. His figure flashed continuously, avoiding the attack of the sword aura. Then, both his fists punched continuously. Streaks of fist strength pierced through the void and blasted on the phantoms. In the blink of an eye, 7 or 8 phantoms collapsed. They were all phantoms, not real. The remaining phantoms moved again and continued to pounce on Lu Ming. In the process, the number of phantoms increased again, returning to 18. Every single one of them appeared to be real. Even their auras were exactly the same. Ha ha, die! The 18 phantoms sneered at the same time. Lu Ming's figure flashed and dodged the attacks. At the same time, he continued to punch out. The tall and thin man's phantoms were constantly shattered, but each time they were shattered, they would recover. The two of them were in a state of anxiety. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 50 blows. It seems that Azura has met his match. That's right. Shura's Jinyuan is abundant, and his fist energy is tyrannical. However, his weakness is also very obvious. His opponent's unpredictable movement skill has entangled him, and his fist energy has no place to use it. Wearing a Azura mask to imitate Jama, they are not on the same level. The difference is too great. The spectators around expressed their opinions one after another. In the process of their discussion, dozens of blows had passed in the blink of an eye. At this time, Lu Ming felt that his exploding star fist was becoming smoother and smoother. Boom! Suddenly, he punched out, and the power was stronger than before. The tall and thin man was shocked. Haha, the exploding star fist has finally been cultivated to the 3rd level. This battle should be over. Lu Ming smiled in his heart. Boom! Lu Ming stepped on the fighting ring and rushed to the sky. Then, he looked down from above and punched out one after another. In an instant, Lu Ming punched out dozens of times. Dozens of fist strength streaked across the sky like meteors and fell on the fighting ring. And the power of each strike was stronger than before. So many! The tall and thin man was shocked. He tried his best to dodge, but the phantoms still collapsed one after another. The 18 phantoms became 17, 16. In the blink of an eye, there were only 2 or 3 phantoms left. Just as he was about to continue changing his form, dozens of fists came crashing down from the sky. No! The tall and thin man roared. In the next moment, he was drowned by dozens of fist strength. The fighting ring rumbled violently. When the fist strength disappeared, the tall and thin man was lying there like a pile of mud, without any signs of life. Just like before, the blood essence and storage ring all belonged to Lu Ming. 3 consecutive victories. Lu Ming had won 3 consecutive victories. Moreover, he had won consecutively, not over a few days. Many people's consecutive victories were actually accumulated over many days. For example, Chen Dao would occasionally fight and accumulate his consecutive victories. It was difficult to win consecutively in a short period of time because continuous battles would consume a lot of true essence. Moreover, the challengers would definitely become stronger. Who wants to fight me? Lu Ming continued to look around. Hee, that's enough. You have already obtained 3 storage rings. Now let me deal with you. A sneer was heard, and a red figure appeared on the fighting ring. It's Shui Gang. He's going to attack again. Looks like he's been waiting. Now that Azura has won 3 consecutive battles, he's going to attack. I wonder if Azura dares to accept the challenge. Shui Gang defeated Chen Dao just now. Chapter 658. This person was Shui Gang, who had defeated Chen Dao before. Shui Gang! Chen Dao's eyes flashed. Lu Ming! Luo Xian revealed a worried expression. Lu Ming, aren't you powerful? If you have the ability, then don't surrender. Chen Zhao's eyes flashed with resentment. He hated Lu Ming to the bone, and his face was still swollen. He hoped that Lu Ming would accept the challenge. If that happened, he would definitely die at Shui Gang's hands. Azura, quite a domineering name. I wonder if you have the guts. Shui Gang sneered. Guts? What do you mean by guts? Lu Ming smiled faintly. I'm afraid you'll surrender before the battle. Shui Gang licked his lips. Haha, Shui Gang, you don't need to provoke me. You came up just in time. I'll use you to practice my fist, Lu Ming said. Haha, so you're not surrendering? Haha, good. Shui Gang was overjoyed. Blood flame palm. A blood-red palm print was sent out from Shui Gang's hand. He couldn't wait to attack Lu Ming. In his opinion, Lu Ming had the wealth of 3 peak kings. Adding on Lu Ming's own wealth, he had the wealth of 4 peak kings. How much wealth would 4 peak kings have? If Lu Ming surrendered without a fight, he would only need to give him 1,000,000 spirit crystals. Wouldn't that be a huge loss for him? Right now, Shui Gang's heart was burning. The blood-red palm print caused the space to tremble, and the smell of blood permeated the air. Exploding Star Fist! Lu Ming punched out. The fist energy collided with Shui Gang's palm print, but the fist energy was instantly shattered by the blood-red palm print. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming punched out dozens of times. However, Shui Gang punched out a few more times, shattering all of Lu Ming's fist energy. Haha! Although your fist energy is fierce, you're still far from being able to compete with me. Shui Gang sneered. This Shui Gang seems to be a rising genius. His battle prowess isn't bad, and he isn't any weaker than Xing Xing a few months ago. Lu Ming thought. However, Lu Ming was much stronger than he had been a few months ago. If Lu Ming were to go all out, he would be able to kill the sacred star from a few months ago with one move. Of course, Lu Ming would not do that. First, he needed to practice his boxing. Also, he needed to attract stronger opponents. Then I'll increase my Jinyuan by another 2%. Circulating his Jinyuan, Lu Ming punched out again. A vacuum tunnel appeared and collided with Shui Gang's blood flame palm. With an explosion, the fist energy and the flaming blood palm both disappeared. You are still hiding your strength? Shui Gang's expression changed. Lu Ming's fist force could still increase. This made him feel that something was amiss. Those people had been killed by Lu Ming just like that. Die! Shui Gang roared as his bloodline erupted. The blood-red palm print became even more domineering, and the blood intent enveloped Lu Ming. Bloodline martial skills were heaven-class upper bloodline martial skills. They were extremely powerful. In terms of power, they were even stronger than Lu Ming's 3 ultimate skills of the Dragon God. After all, the 3 ultimate skills of the Dragon God were cultivated by Lu Ming. They couldn't compare to bloodline martial skills. Shui Gang went all out, and his power doubled. His attacks were like a storm that drowned Lu Ming. Finally, it's getting a little interesting. Lu Ming's eyes revealed a trace of fighting spirit. Boom! In the next moment, raging flames burned around him. It was the fire intent. Of course, Lu Ming only cast one kind of fire concept. The fire concept was integrated into the exploding star fist, making the power of the exploding star fist even more terrifying. Every fist force was like a burning meteor, full of violent aura. The fist energy and Shui Gang's blood-red palm print constantly bombarded each other. As for Shui Gang's blood intent, it could drain blood, but it had no effect on Lu Ming. Could it be compared to the devouring power of the 9 Dragons bloodline? The 9 Dragons bloodline only needed to circulate a little to make the blood intent lose its effect. In the blink of an eye, dozens of moves had passed. Just like the previous battle, Lu Ming began to gain the upper hand again. How can this be? Many people widened their eyes. Especially Chen Zhao, who was in disbelief. Shui Gang roared and broke out in a cold sweat. He was being suppressed. Was he going to end up like those people and be killed by Lu Ming? No, he couldn't. He was a peerless genius and had a chance to enter the list of top 1,000 talents. This time, he came to the chaotic astral sea to train himself and prepare for the battle of destiny. How could he die? But no matter how hard he tried, he was still suppressed by Lu Ming. He felt that Lu Ming's fist energy was getting stronger and stronger. Every time the fist energy exploded, he felt as if his skin was being torn apart. Go! Shui Gang roared and rushed into the sky. He wanted to escape. Do you think you can escape? Lu Ming stepped into the air and moved faster than Shui Gang. In an instant, he appeared in front of Shui Gang and punched out. Shui Gang didn't expect Lu Ming's speed to be so terrifying. In a hurry, he managed to block with a palm print. The palm print was directly destroyed by Lu Ming. Shui Gang's body flew out of the fighting ring like a cannonball and landed heavily on the fighting ring, spitting blood. Lu Ming chased after him. Wait a minute, I admit defeat. Azura, I'm from the Heavenly Corpse sect. If you kill me, The Heavenly Corpse sect will never let you go! Shui Gang shouted. Heavenly Corpse sect? Lu Ming was slightly stunned. Didn't the Heavenly Corpse sect play with refined corpses all day long? Why didn't Shui Gang have any refined corpses? Seeing Lu Ming's stunned expression, Shui Gang thought that Lu Ming was afraid. He shouted again. Azura, if you let me go, I'll let bygones be bygones. What do you think? Ha ha, Shui Gang, have you forgotten that this is the chaotic astral sea? The Heavenly Corpse sect can't control this place. Moreover, the people of the Heavenly Corpse sect deserve to die. Lu Ming's slightly cold voice came out of his mouth. Then his body flashed, and he charged toward Shui Gang. Damn it! Shui Gang roared and tried his best to resist, but the result was already decided. After a few moves, he was bombarded by Lu Ming's punches and his body exploded. Shui Gang was dead. The genius of the Heavenly Corpse sect had defeated Qin Dao, who had won 8 times in a row, and was killed by Azura. The atmosphere at the scene reached a climax, and the crowd cheered excitedly. Kill, good kill! Haha, this is so exciting! Yes, a young genius was killed. It's really exciting. That fool even mentioned the Heavenly Corpse sect. In the chaotic astral sea, it doesn't matter who comes. Azura is so strong. He won 4 times in a row and even killed Shui Gang. Judging from his voice, he seems to be very young. Could he be another young peerless genius? Very likely. King Yan is also a young genius and is very likely to be a peerless genius on the list of top 1,000 talents. Azura is also very likely to be a peerless genius. There have been too many young geniuses in the chaotic astral sea recently. Chapter 659. I didn't expect Lu Ming to be so strong. Luo Xian's eyes were glittering. I'm not as strong as him. Qin Dao sighed. How can this be? How can this be? Qin Zhao roared in his heart. It was simply unbearable. Before, he had been talking about how strong and terrifying his brother was in front of Lu Ming, and how Lu Ming was nothing in front of his brother. He was very proud and arrogant. But now, his brother had been defeated by Shui Gang and had almost been killed. He had to run away and pay 5 million supreme-grade spirit crystals to save his life. But now, Shui Gang, who had beaten up his brother, had been killed by Lu Ming. What was this? Everything he had said before was a joke, a blatant joke. Perhaps, in Lu Ming's eyes, he was a clown who was telling ridiculous jokes. Damn it, damn it! Qin Zhao roared in his heart. His pride had been severely damaged. Is there anyone else? Lu Ming asked loudly. No one said anything, nor did anyone go up. Lu Ming waited for a few minutes, but still, no one went up. Lu Ming's battle strength was too strong. Even if there were people stronger than Shui Gang, they would think twice and not act rashly. After a few minutes, no one made a move. Lu Ming flew down the arena and came to Xian Yanqing's side. My turn! Xian Yanqing said indifferently as he flew onto the stage. His aura spread out. Peter King, another Peter King, and he's wearing a Yiksha mask. Is he another expert? No way. How can there be so many experts? Judging from the figure, it seems to be a woman. Xian Yanqing caused a commotion as soon as he went up. Who wants to fight? Xian Yanqing spoke. His voice was crisp but cold. It's Miss Xie. Luo Xian immediately recognized Xian Yanqing's voice. Is Miss Xie's battle strength also very strong? Luo Xian muttered. Humph! Chen Zhao coldly snorted, and a vicious look flashed in his eyes. He secretly prayed in his heart, hoping that Xian Yanqing would be killed. It's a young woman! The surrounding audience could also tell that Xian Yanqing was quite young. I'll take you on! Finally, someone went on stage. Without any superfluous words, Xian Yanqing immediately launched his attack. Xian Yanqing didn't use her heavenly demon power field or her bloodline martial skill. She mainly used her destruction mentality and wind mentality. She wanted to use Lu Ming's method to fuse the two mentalities with the help of external forces. Therefore, Xian Yanqing didn't seem to be very strong, and he was locked in battle with his opponent. Lu Ming diverted part of his attention to watch the battle while refining the blood essence. After devouring the essence blood of 4 peak kings, he used it all to strengthen his second bloodline. The bloodline power of his second bloodline increased rapidly. On the stage, Xian Yanqing exchanged a few hundred moves with his opponent before finally killing him. Because Xian Yanqing didn't seem to be very strong, the others thought that they could take advantage of another few hundred moves, so another expert went on stage. Unfortunately, the result was the same. After exchanging another few hundred moves with Xian Yanqing, he was still killed. After that, no one else went on stage. At this time, Lu Ming's essence blood was almost completely refined. His second bloodline hadn't evolved yet, but Lu Ming felt that it was almost there. "Let's go!" Xian Yanqing leaped down from the fighting ring and left the live fighting ring with Lu Ming. After a few battles, they needed to go back and digest. But soon, the names of Azura and Yiksha would spread throughout Golden Sand Island. Lu Ming and Dandan left the stage and found a secluded place to take off their black robes and masks. Then, they found an inn and booked 2 rooms. Sitting cross-legged in the room, Lu Ming appeared in the Temple of Paragon with a thought. After 4 battles, Lu Ming had a new understanding of the exploding star fist. Lu Ming wanted to use the Enlightenment Ancient Tree to comprehend it. He placed the Enlightenment Ancient Tree on the side. The Tao Comprehension Ancient Tree's growth became better and better. That tender leaf had now grown a bit, becoming a bit greener, sparkling and translucent. The aura of the Great Tao curled about it, becoming more and more mysterious. Lu Ming waved his hand and took out a large amount of spirit herbs. He squeezed out some medicinal liquid and sprinkled it all on the profound yellow silicon soil. "Leave some for me." Dandan's eyes turned red when he saw Lu Ming turn a large amount of spirit herbs into medicinal liquid. "Here, take a few." Lu Ming threw a few spirit herbs to Dandan, but he sighed in his heart. He was too good at consuming resources. His own cultivation consumed a terrifying amount of resources, 10 times more than others. Moreover, the cultivation of the myriad spirit battle body also required a large amount of resources. The growth of the Enlightenment Ancient Tree required a large amount of spiritual liquid. Without spiritual liquid, he could only replace it with medicinal liquid. Also, if Dandan wanted to recover, she couldn't do without spirit herbs. The speed at which he consumed resources was too terrifying. Ordinary people definitely couldn't bear it. During this period of time, he had killed many enemies and obtained a large amount of resources. Only then was he able to barely withstand it. But as long as these resources could be converted into strength, it was worth it. Taking a deep breath, Lu Ming threw away the distracting thoughts in his mind. With the help of the Enlightenment Ancient Tree, he began to comprehend the exploding star fist. During this period, he didn't have the chance to use the Enlightenment Ancient Tree. Now that he used the Enlightenment Ancient Tree, his comprehension of the exploding star fist had greatly improved. In the blink of an eye, a day had passed. The next day, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing went to the Fate Battle platform again. It was a good place, and they didn't want to miss it. Unfortunately, Lu Ming went to the Fate Battle platform today, but still, no one challenged him. In a fit of anger, he said that he would come every day for the next few days and wait for experts to challenge him. However, Xian Yanqing had a person who challenged her. He wasn't weak, but he was killed by Xian Yanqing in the end. "Your method is not bad. I'm going to cultivate in seclusion for a few days," Xian Yanqing said to Lu Ming. She seemed to have learned something. Lu Ming returned to the inn and continued to cultivate with the Enlightenment Ancient Tree. The next day, he went to the Fate Battle platform again. On this day, no one challenged him again. For the next 3 days, Lu Ming went to the Fate Battle platform every day, but no one challenged him. After returning, he entered the Temple of Paragon to cultivate. For the next 5 days, no one challenged Lu Ming. However, with the help of the Enlightenment Ancient Tree, Lu Ming's comprehension of the exploding star fist progressed extremely quickly. He had already cultivated to the 4th level, and the exploding star fist's power had increased again. On the sixth day, someone finally challenged Lu Ming. This person's battle strength was much stronger than Shui Gang's. He had won 10 consecutive battles on the Fate battle platform. Obviously, Lu Ming's daily visits had attracted the attention of some experts. Some experts had come to challenge him. Of course, the final result was still Lu Ming's victory. Azura's name was becoming more and more famous. Although Azura had only won 5 consecutive battles, he had defeated opponents who had won 10 consecutive battles. Moreover, no one knew where Lu Ming's limit was. Do you think King Yanluo will challenge Azura? Chapter 660. His words aroused the curiosity of many people. Many people were looking forward to the battle between Azura and Hades. Both of them had a lot in common. Both of them wore masks and sounded very young. Both of them had risen recently. Many people guessed that both of them were peerless geniuses from the outside world and were even geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents. However, Hades had not appeared since the battle between him and 7 Zen-old monster. In the next 2 days, Lu Ming continued to fight, but no one challenged him. Once, he challenged someone, and the person directly admitted defeat and gave him 1,000,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals. Lu Ming, fight with me! When Lu Ming returned to the inn, Xian Yanqing appeared in front of him and said, "Fight with you?" Lu Ming was stunned. "Yes, I've already reached the threshold of combining 2 wills, but I still need an external force to suppress me. However, the martial artists on the Fate battle platform are too weak to give me this kind of pressure, so I can only ask you," Xian Yanqing said. "Okay." Lu Ming naturally would not refuse to help Xian Yanqing cultivate. The two of them left the city and appeared in the sky above a barren mountain tens of thousands of miles away. They stood opposite each other. Boom! Xian Yanqing's destruction wills and wind wills burst out at the same time. They intertwined and turned into a cyan palm print that blasted toward Lu Ming. Exploding Star Fist! Lu Ming blasted out a fist radiance that shook the void. Boom! The fist radiance and the palm print collided. With a roar, the palm print trembled, but the fist radiance disappeared. Not enough power. Lu Ming, increase your power! Xian Yanqing's voice sounded, and his aura surged out. Okay. Circulating the true dragon battle art, the true essence within Lu Ming's body began to rapidly circulate. Boom, a fist light that seemed to be able to connect the heavens and the earth, fusing with the concept of fire, blasted towards Xian Yanqing's palm. With a loud bang, Xian Yanqing's palm imprint exploded. However, Lu Ming didn't hold back at all. He punched out a second time, then a third time. Streams of fist aura pierced through the void and blasted towards Xian Yanqing. Great demonic palm! Xian Yanqing yelled out. Both of her palms struck out, and a series of black palm prints blended with the concept of destruction and the concept of wind blasted towards Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! This area of the void was boiling, and the sound of violent explosions could be heard constantly. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged dozens of moves. In the beginning, the two of them were still testing each other. But gradually, their strength continued to increase. Lu Ming brandished his fists, and the speed of his punches became faster and faster. In an instant, dozens of fist aura burst out. On the other hand, Xian Yanqing was completely using the two concepts to resist and tried to fuse the two concepts. Yes, that's it! Xian Yanqing's eyes became brighter and brighter. Lu Ming also completely let go of his hands and feet, and the fist aura continued to bombard. Xian Yanqing's strength was strong enough and could completely block it. Lu Ming wasn't worried about hurting Xian Yanqing. In the blink of an eye, 100 moves had passed. Lu Ming felt that the exploding star fist was becoming smoother and smoother. His comprehension of the exploding star fist was also gradually deepening. At the same time, the exploding star fist was like a sledgehammer, constantly tempering Xian Yanqing's concept, causing the two concepts to slowly merge. If Xian Yanqing's two concepts were successfully merged, her combat strength would definitely increase by a large margin. The two of them fought for more than 300 moves before stopping. How is it? Lu Ming walked over and asked. Yes, I have a great feeling. I believe that I will be able to break through in a short period of time. Xian Yanqing nodded excitedly, then looked at Lu Ming with a smile and said, You helped me so much. Aren't you afraid that I will suppress you when I break through? Ha ha, even if you break through, you may not be able to suppress me. Moreover, I will also improve. In this lifetime, you will never be able to surpass me. Lu Ming laughed, feeling complacent. Shameless. Humph, let's see how I will surpass you. Xian Yanqing's small mouth curled up, revealing a faint smile. Then, the two of them chatted as they returned. In the next 2 days, Lu Ming didn't go to the fate battle platform, but went into seclusion to cultivate. 2 days later, a piece of news spread. Old monster Demonic Wind wanted to challenge Azura on the fate battle platform and asked Azura to accept the challenge. As soon as the news spread, the entire city was shaken. Old monster Demonic Wind was an old monster who had lived for a long time, at least 500 years. A few hundred years ago, he was already a peak king. Although he hadn't broken through to the Sea of Soul Realm, his martial skills, secret arts, and other aspects had already been cultivated to a frightening level. His battle strength was extremely frightening. Such a character wanted to challenge Azura. Everyone was incomparably curious and excited. Therefore, the news quickly spread to Lu Ming's ears. Old monster Demonic Wind, interesting. Lu Ming revealed a faint smile. Seems like an expert has appeared. Let's go, I'll accompany you to take a look. Xian Yanqing walked over, and the two of them walked towards the fate battle platform. Halfway there, they changed into black robes and put on masks. Azura is here! As soon as Lu Ming arrived, the whole place burst into cries of surprise. The fate battle platform was already filled with people. After all, Azura's name had been getting more and more famous recently, almost catching up to Yama King. As for old monster Demonic Wind, he was a famous old monster in the sea region near Golden Sand Island. Apart from Sea of Soul Realm experts, no one dared to provoke him. The battle between the two naturally attracted the attention of the majority of people. Many people rushed over as soon as they heard the news. Lu Ming stepped on the air and landed on the platform. Countless eyes looked at him. Hee hee! A dry, cold laugh resounded as a skinny old man wearing a green robe appeared on the platform. Many people didn't even see how he appeared. So fast! Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Old monster Demonic Wind had clearly cultivated wind mentality, and his speed was frightening. Lu Ming! On the platform, Luo Xian's eyes flickered. Today, Luo Xian had also come. Similarly, Chen Dao and Chen Zhao had also arrived and were watching together. I hope old monster Demonic Wind can kill this kid, Chen Zhao prayed inwardly. You're Azura? I heard that you're just a kid. Don't try to act mysterious in front of this old man. Take off your mask. Old monster Demonic Wind stood in front of Lu Ming and chuckled. You want me to take off my mask? Sure, but let's see if you have the ability. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Hee hee, it's good for young people to be confident, but don't underestimate your seniors. After all, you haven't lived your life for nothing. As soon as he finished speaking, old monster Demonic Wind's figure disappeared. In the next instant, Lu Ming felt a gust of wind whistling in front of him as a claw reached for his mask. Without hesitation, Lu Ming took a step back and retreated rapidly. Hee hee, you can't escape. Old monster Demonic Wind moved again and followed closely behind Lu Ming, his claw reaching for Lu Ming's mask. Bang! Lu Ming suddenly threw a punch in front of him. Chapter 661. The fist light missed and pierced through the void before landing on the light screen on the other side of the stage, causing the light screen to tremble. This old man has such terrifying control. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Old monster Demonic Wind had perfect control over every bit of his power. Every time he attacked, he would not waste a single bit of his power. His attacks were precise and precise. Shura is in trouble. At this moment, everyone had the same thought. Old monster demonic wind was way too powerful. He was indeed an old monster that had dominated this ocean region for hundreds of years. No one below the Sea of Souls realm would dare to mess with him. Many people thought that although Lu Ming was strong, he shouldn't be old monster demonic wind's opponent. 9 dragons stomping the sky! At this moment, Lu Ming executed the 9 dragons stomping the sky steps. His body turned into a stream of light as he soared into the sky, instantly dodging old monster demonic wind's attack. Old monster demonic wind's claw missed and was slightly stunned. He looked up at the sky and saw Lu Ming floating in the air. I didn't expect you to have such a footwork. Not bad, but I wonder how strong your attack is. Old monster demonic wind chuckled. If you want to know, then I'll let you try. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming's fists punched out continuously. In an instant, he had thrown out dozens of punches. Streams of fist energy fell like meteors toward old monster demonic wind. Old monster demonic wind's eyes turned cold as he waved his hands. Whoosh! Whoosh! Wind blades were formed and flew up into the sky, colliding with the fist force that was coming down from the sky. Strong winds and raging flames spread in all directions, engulfing the fighting stage. The wind blades and fist energy cancelled each other out. Again! Lu Ming yelled as he increased his Jingyuan. This time, he threw out hundreds of punches. The entire space was filled with fist energy. In the stands, Chen Zhao's face was pale. The strength that Lu Ming had displayed could easily defeat his elder brother, Chen Dao. In every battle, Lu Ming seemed to have no upper limit. He gave off a feeling of a bottomless abyss. Old monster demonic wind's face turned grave. Demonic wind slash! A long sword appeared in old monster demonic wind's hand, emitting a dazzling green light. His body soared into the sky as a green sword light flashed out. Sizzle! Old freak demonic wind's figure rushed into the fist radiance that filled the sky with an ear-piercing sound. Whoosh! In the end, old monster demonic wind broke through the range of the fist radiance and rushed into the sky, standing side by side with Lu Ming. It's my turn now! Old monster demonic wind's voice sounded, but he had already vanished. He seemed to transform into a gust of wind that drifted through the world. Hoo-hoo! The wind was really blowing in the sky. As the wind rose, the temperature dropped sharply. Then, snowflakes appeared out of thin air. Along with the strong wind, they swept towards Lu Ming. Concept of wind, concept of snow! Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Not only did old monster demonic wind cultivate the concept of wind, but he also cultivated the concept of snow. Both wills were at the first level of perfection. It's here! It's said that old monster demonic wind has comprehended 2 concepts. It's true. Yes, it's said that old monster demonic wind was very ambitious back then. He wanted to comprehend 2 concepts, but he was stuck at the Peak King realm. That's why he couldn't break through to the Sea of Soul realm. If he had only comprehended 1 concept, he probably would have broken through to the Sea of Soul realm long ago. But the power of 2 concepts is unquestionable. Azura is in danger. Many of the older generation figures on the viewing platform began to discuss excitedly. Haha, Junior, die! Old monster demonic wind's smug voice sounded from the wind and snow. What's there to be smug about? He comprehended 2 concepts, but he didn't succeed in fusing them. The increase in power is also very limited. Lu Ming's expression was still very calm as he waved his fists. Streams of fist energy shot out, blocking the wind and snow around him. These snowflakes were snow-white and even sharper than spirit weapons. Each snowflake could probably pierce through a 100-meter-wide mountain. Concept fusion? Junior, what do you know? Do you think it's that easy to fuse 2 concepts? You're really ignorant. Old monster demonic wind's voice was filled with disdain and reprimand. Is it that hard to fuse 2 concepts? Lu Ming smiled faintly. As Lu Ming's voice fell, Lu Ming's fist aura suddenly changed. The fist light not only contained the concept of fire, but also the concept of lightning. As soon as the concepts of lightning and fire appeared, the 2 concepts fused together perfectly, causing the power of the exploding star fist to increase greatly. Boom! Boom! The boundless fist's light directly pierced through the wind and snow. With a miserable cry, a figure appeared and frantically retreated. The concepts of lightning and fire have fused perfectly. How is this possible? How is this possible? Blood flowed from the corner of Old Monster Demonic Wind's mouth, but he didn't care. His eyes were fixed on Lu Ming. The audience was also dumbfounded. Lu Ming had also comprehended two concepts and had successfully fused them. On the other hand, Old Monster Demonic Wind hadn't. It was clear at a glance who was stronger and who was weaker. What's impossible? Just because you can't fuse them doesn't mean that others can't, Lu Ming said faintly. Tell me, how did you fuse them? Tell me, tell me! Old Monster Demonic Wind roared. His eyes were red as he stared at Lu Ming. Old Monster Demonic Wind had tried many methods over the years, but he still couldn't fuse them successfully. It was like a demon in his heart. Let me tell you, you can't fuse them either. It requires talent, Lu Ming said faintly. He wasn't wrong. In fact, he wasn't the only one who thought of this method. Others could have thought of it as well, but how many people could successfully fuse them? To put it bluntly, it required talent. He had the talent, and now it seemed that Xian Yanqing also had the talent. Old Monster Demonic Wind had cultivated for hundreds of years, but he still couldn't fuse them successfully. But Old Monster Demonic Wind obviously didn't believe it. Bullshit, what talent? Brat, if you don't tell me, I'll make you suffer a fate worse than death. Old Monster Demonic Wind roared. Old man, is there something wrong with your head? Do you think you're a match for me? Lu Ming shook his head and smiled. Take my strongest move! Old Monster Demonic Wind roared as the wind and snow essences spread out again. I can't be bothered to waste time with you. I'll send you on your way. There was a cold smile at the corners of Lu Ming's lips. Boom! In the next moment, the three essences of wind, fire, and thunder erupted at the same time, turning into a dazzling spear light. Old Monster Demonic Wind's eyes widened to the size of copper bells as he roared in disbelief. Three concepts fused together! He couldn't bear it. He had spent his whole life trying to fuse two essences, but Lu Ming had fused three. Moreover, he was so young. Could it really be because of his talent? Swoosh! The dazzling spear light pierced through the void and instantly appeared in front of Old Monster Demonic Wind. It pierced through all of Old Monster Demonic Wind's defenses. Chapter 662. There was complete silence around the fate-fighting platform. Everyone widened their eyes and stared intently at Lu Ming's figure on the platform. Old Monster Demonic Wind had been killed in one shot. Lu Ming had merged three wills. Was this Lu Ming's true strength? It was too terrifying. Or perhaps, this was not Lu Ming's true strength. After the silence, there was a fierce uproar. Some people were discussing excitedly, while others were screaming excitedly. Is this his true strength? Luo Xian whispered, her eyes filled with disbelief. Beside her, Qin Zhao's body began to tremble violently. It was because of fear and shock. It turned out that ever since he had met Lu Ming had never shown his true strength. What he had seen was only the tip of the iceberg. Even though he had repeatedly provoked Lu Ming, he had not shown his strength to kill him. Perhaps, Lu Ming could not be bothered to reveal his abilities in front of him. He could not even be bothered to kill him. Perhaps, in Lu Ming's eyes, he was no different from a wild dog barking by the roadside. He did not take him seriously at all. Thinking of this, he was filled with a deep sense of powerlessness. His brother, whom he had always been proud of, was probably defeated by Lu Ming in one move. In the battle platform, Lu Ming's figure flashed and devoured Old Monster Demonic Wind's essence blood. At the same time, the storage ring naturally fell into his hands. Who else? Who wants to come up and fight? Lu Ming's clear voice resounded throughout the entire Fate battle platform. The entire Fate battle platform fell silent. What a joke! Even an old monster like Old Monster Demonic Wind had died. Who else would be willing to court death? Lu Ming waited for 2 minutes and glanced around. Seeing that no one wanted to come up, he was about to leave. The King of Hell is here! At this moment, a loud shout resounded throughout the Fate Battle platform. The entire Fate Battle platform fell silent, followed by an earth-shattering uproar. What? The King of Hell is here? Where is he? Really? Where is he? At the main entrance. Look! After a moment of noise, everyone's gaze turned towards the direction of the entrance. Lu Ming's heart stirred, and he also looked in that direction. A black-robed man wearing a Yama mask slowly made his way into the palace. As he took one step at a time, he stepped on the void and appeared at the edge of the fighting ring. On the mask, 2 sharp eyes stared at Lu Ming. Lu Ming also looked at him. Everyone suddenly felt their heartbeats quicken. Could it be that the King of Hell wants to challenge the Asura? It's possible, it's possible. The King of Hell has disappeared for so many days and has finally reappeared. Now that such a powerful opponent has appeared, he might really make his move. Heavens, Yama versus Asura, who is stronger? I'm looking forward to it. Indeed, I'm looking forward to it. Ever since the rise of the King of Hell, he has never tasted defeat. He has killed several old monsters. However, no one knows how strong Shura is. He probably didn't use his full strength when killing old monster Demonic Wind. Hundreds of thousands of pairs of eyes stared at Lu Ming and the King of Hell with anticipation in their eyes. The King of Hell versus Asura, this was going to be a battle of the pinnacle. Clang! The sound of a sword rang out, and the aura of the King of Hell suddenly surged. His body emitted a dazzling golden light, and a golden sword light shot into the sky. Boom! In an instant, as if there was a connection between the aura, Lu Ming's body also erupted with a powerful aura, and a spear light shot into the sky. Then, the sword light and the spear light met in the air and collided violently. An earth-shattering explosion rang out, and the force of the collision swept out in all directions. Just the collision of the auras was enough to make the scene shocking. Are they really going to fight? At this moment, everyone held their breaths and stared with wide eyes, unblinking. However, to their disappointment, the King of Hell and Asura did not make a move after the collision of auras. Asura stood in the battle platform, while the King of Hell stood in the air. They did not fight. This person is so strong. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly, and they were like 2 divine spears that pierced through the air. Lu Ming felt an immense pressure coming from the King of Hell. He had never felt such pressure from a martial artist of the same level as him. The King of Hell was definitely a terrifying opponent. At the same time, the golden light in the King of Hell's eyes shone brightly, as if 2 golden swords were about to shoot out. He did not move, as he also felt a strong pressure coming from Lu Ming. He was not confident, and he had a feeling that if they were to fight, one of them would definitely die. Moreover, he was not confident that he would be the one to win. The King of Hell was also surprised. He did not expect to meet such a strong opponent here. Even in the entire eastern wilderness, there were not many people like him. The 2 of them faced off for a while, and suddenly, the King of Hell retracted his aura. At the same time, Lu Ming also retracted his aura. Without saying anything else, the King of Hell turned around and left. They are not fighting anymore. Almost everyone was disappointed. They thought that there would be a battle of the pinnacle. Both of them are too strong. Neither of them is confident of defeating the other. That's right. There is no doubt that these 2 are peerless geniuses. Even on the list of top 1,000 talents, they are evenly matched. Some of the older generation figures said. They had figured out the reason. Many people sighed, as they could not see a battle of the pinnacle. Clang! At that instant, a melodious chime could be heard. Clang! Before the first bell had finished ringing, the second bell rang, sounding very urgent. Most of the people's expressions changed drastically. Alarm! Why is the alarm ringing? Someone yelled. Sea beasts are attacking the island! Sea beasts are attacking the island! Suddenly, an earth-shattering roar rang out outside the Fate battle platform. The roars swept through the entire city like a storm and spread wildly into the distance. What? Sea beasts are attacking the island? At this moment, everyone's expression changed drastically. Sea beasts are attacking the island. A beast tide is coming. Everyone, head to the eastern sea and attack the sea beasts. The voice rang out again, rumbling in the air. The owner of the voice had a terrifying cultivation. He was definitely a Sea of Spirit realm expert. Clang! Clang! At the same time, the alarm kept ringing. It was very urgent. Let's go to the Eastern Sea! Let's go! The audience around the Fate battle platform rose into the air like locusts and flew toward the gap above. Sea beasts are attacking the island! Lu Ming's eyes flickered. A figure appeared beside Lu Ming. It was Xian Yanqing. Shao Qing, let's go and have a look, Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing nodded and rose into the air with Lu Ming. They blended into the crowd and headed toward the Eastern Sea. In the city, countless figures flew out, blotting out the sky and covering the earth as they flew toward the Eastern Sea. Not only in the city, but also in the mountains around the city. A large number of experts also flew out and headed toward the Eastern Sea. Whenever there was a beast tide or sea beasts attacking the island, all the martial artists had to unite and fight together. This was a long-standing rule in the chaotic astral ocean. Otherwise, these islands would have been ravaged by sea beasts long ago. Chapter 663. Rumble. A loud rumbling sound came from the distant sea, and the waves surged to the sky. Everyone stood in the air and looked into the distance. They could see a white line surging towards them. It was a shocking wave. The Far Sea Patrol has sent back a message. A large number of sea beasts are charging towards us. Prepare for battle. An old man in a plain robe appeared in the air, his voice rumbling and spreading throughout the area. The aura emitted from his body was like a vast ocean. It was extremely shocking. This was a Sea of Soul realm expert. Rumble. The sound of the waves was even more shocking. Everyone felt that the sky and the earth were shaking violently. The huge waves were accompanied by the roars of the sea beasts. The waves were getting closer and closer. Everyone's eyes were wide open. That wave was too shocking. It was at least 1,000 meters high and seemed to be reaching into the clouds, washing away the clouds. Countless sea beasts were rolling in the waves. That's the blood shark race! Someone shouted. In one of the waves, everyone saw countless blood-red sharks. These sharks were extremely huge. Any one of them was dozens of meters long. They were blood-red all over, and their roars were endless. It was unknown how many there were. Swordfish race! Sea lion race! Tiger shark race! Everyone saw a total of 9 groups of sea beasts. They were divided into 9 regions, bringing with them waves as they charged over. The number of sea beasts in each region was hard to count. There were just too many of them. Look, there are people on the waves! There's a person on top of each race! Someone exclaimed. Indeed, there was a figure on top of each of the 9 races. They were walking on the waves, and their auras were shocking. Those aren't humans. They're transformed great beasts, the kings of each race. Above the crowd, the Sea of Soul realm expert said with a grave tone. What? Transformed great beasts? The transformed great beasts of the 9 races are all here? How is this possible? Many people exclaimed. 6th grade beasts were equivalent to Sea of Soul realm experts. They could already transform into human form, so they were also called transformed great beasts. Shape-shifted great beasts lead their own clans and occupy an area of the sea. There are only 7 clans of sea beasts near Jinsha Island. Why are there 9? The beast wave this time is too shocking. In the past, there would only be some small-scale beast waves, and Sea of Souls realm beasts would rarely appear. The scene was in an uproar. Some people's eyes were filled with fear. Countless sea beasts were rolling and roaring in the rapidly approaching waves. The pressure they gave off was too great. Boom! Boom! Numerous figures appeared in the sky, each of them emanating an aura that was as vast as the ocean. Sea of Soul's realm. All of them were Sea of Soul's realm experts. There were 10 of them in total. This caused many martial artists' panicked hearts to calm down slightly. All the Sea of Soul realm experts hiding in Golden Sand Island had appeared. That's the Frostblade Spirit! The Frostblade Spirit has also appeared! Someone shouted. Among the 10 Sea of Soul's realm experts, there was a white-robed old man. His aura was the most frightening, a lot stronger than the other Sea of Soul's realm experts. Haha, this is great! I heard that the Frostblade Spirit has been in seclusion for 60 years. This beast wave has actually alarmed him. With him here, our chances are much higher this time. Someone saw the white-robed old man and laughed excitedly. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were mixed in the crowd, looking at the sky. Jinsha Island is truly shocking. There are actually so many experts hidden here. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. Among the crowd, apart from the 10 Sea of Soul's realm experts, there were also many other powerful auras. One after another, they rose up like smoke signals. Among them, Lu Ming could feel the auras of peak kings. There were no less than 500 of them. Jinsha Island alone had gathered no less than 500 peak kings. It was absolutely frightening. The chaotic astral ocean was indeed worthy of being called the chaotic astral ocean. There were too many experts. Every day, there would be many evil people entering the chaotic astral ocean from various regions of the eastern wasteland. A king had a lifespan of 1,000 years. After so many years, who knew how many experts there were in the chaotic astral ocean? It had definitely reached an astonishing number. Rumble! The waves were getting closer and closer, and a fiendish aura pervaded the air. Kill! Kill all the human martial artists! Above the Bloodshark clan's territory, a large man in a blood-red robe stood, roaring loudly. This was the Bloodshark clan's king, who had transformed into a great beast. Kill! Kill! Countless sea beasts roared and pounced toward the island. When demonic beasts reached the 5th level, which was the king level, they would be able to speak. All martial artists below the martial ancestor realm, retreat. All martial artists above the martial ancestor realm, attack the sea beasts with all your strength. If anyone retreats, kill without mercy! In the air, the Ice Blade Spirit Warrior's voice resounded throughout the entire area. It was incomparably tyrannical. However, no one retorted. Everyone knew that in the current situation, if someone retreated without fighting, there would definitely be more people following suit. Jinsha Island would definitely be in danger. Kill! Kill! Apart from the Ice Blade Spirit Warrior, the other 9 Sea of Soul realm experts roared and charged toward the transformed great beasts of the 9 clans with frightening might. Rumble! Rumble! The Sea of Soul realm experts and transformed great beasts fiercely clashed, causing intense rumbling sounds. Kill! The other human martial artists also roared and charged toward the sea beasts. Both sides crazily clashed. All kinds of sword chi, blade lights, palm prints, and fist auras bombarded the waves, causing them to explode. The sea beasts charged out of the water and engaged in a fierce battle with the human martial artists. Blood splattered everywhere. As soon as they came into contact, a large number of sea beasts were killed. At the same time, human martial artists also died tragically. The battle was incomparably tragic as soon as it began. Among the human martial artists, apart from the martial ancestor realm experts, only the Ice Blade Spirit Warrior did not make a move. He stood in the void and scanned the surroundings. As the strongest human martial artist, he had to control the overall situation in case of an emergency. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing charged forward side by side. The area they were in was the territory of the tiger sharks. Roar! Roar! The roar of the tiger sharks was actually similar to that of a ferocious tiger. Their roars were like thunder, and their teeth, which were sharper than blades, bit toward Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming waved his hand and a spear light stabbed out, piercing through a 30-meter-long tiger shark. Blood dyed the sea red. This tiger shark was equivalent to a 7th-grade martial king realm expert. Devouring power burst out and devoured the tiger shark's blood essence. On the side, Xian Yanqing's sky demon power field enveloped 5 or 6 tiger sharks and killed them directly. Lu Ming's figure flashed as he devoured all the blood essence. Kill! The infinite dragon's spear appeared in his hand and Lu Ming charged forward. Wherever the spear light passed, the giant tiger sharks would die in his hands. Swoosh! Chapter 664. Human, die! 100-meter-long tiger shark charged at Lu Ming with blood-red eyes. It opened its mouth, and 5 or 6 scimitars flew out, slashing at Lu Ming. Those scimitars were actually formed from the teeth of the tiger shark, and were even sharper than a level 5 spiritual weapon. Lu Ming could tell the strength of a Peking-level tiger shark with a single glance. Dang! Dang! Lu Ming swept out his long spear and deflected 5 to 6 scimitars. A tricolored spear gleam burst out and shot directly into the head of this tiger shark, piercing a transparent hole in the tiger shark. After killing a Peking-level tiger shark with a single move, Yichin devoured its essence blood. Lu Ming didn't stop at all, and continued to kill. Not only did he devour the essence blood of the tiger sharks he killed, but he also devoured the essence blood of the tiger sharks killed by others. His figure flashed, and the essence blood of the tiger sharks of various levels were devoured by him. Too good! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It had been a long time since he participated in such a large-scale battle. Such a large-scale battle was hell for others, but for him, it was a holy land for cultivation. He circulated the devouring power of the 9 dragons' bloodline on his palm, and continuously devoured the essence blood of the tiger sharks. Of course, if a martial artist died in battle, he wouldn't let them go, and devoured all of their essence blood. He split a part of his attention to control the 9 dragons' bloodline, and used it to refine the essence blood to upgrade his second bloodline. Kill that masked guy! A loud roar came from nearby, and 3 huge tiger sharks charged at Lu Ming. Xiao! Xiao! The seawater was condensed into long spears that pierced toward Lu Ming. At the same time, there were also scimitars that cut through the void, breaking through the air to kill. Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed, and he shot into the sky. With a few steps, 3 Peking-level tiger sharks were killed. Not far away, Xian Yanqing was even more shocking. The heavenly demon force field was a perverse existence in a group battle. As long as the tiger sharks were enveloped by the heavenly demon force field, they would be cut into several pieces. Under the spiritual sea, Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming were invincible. 1. A streak of silver light shot towards Lu Ming at an unimaginable speed. This was also a tiger shark, but it was only 10 meters long. Its entire body was silver, and its body was densely covered with a layer of silver scales. Lu Ming subconsciously swept out with his spear. Bang! Lu Ming's long spear swept across the silver tiger shark's body. It was as if he had been struck by a 10,000-foot-tall mountain. His body trembled and he could not help but retreat 3 steps. However, that silver tiger shark was also sent flying by Lu Ming. What a powerful force! Lu Ming's heart stirred. After the silver tiger shark flew out, it was completely fine. It roared and charged towards Lu Ming again. Under the silver tiger shark's control, the seawater turned into all kinds of weapons. Sharp swords, spears, there were over 100 swords in total, and they surrounded Lu Ming. This is a mutated tiger shark! Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Some demonic beasts had the bloodline of ancient divine beasts and ferocious beasts. They were incomparably powerful and were much stronger than demonic beasts of the same level. Clearly, this tiger shark was a remnant species. Many demonic beasts with powerful bloodlines not only had immense strength, but their demonic power was also incomparably strong. When they reached a certain level, they would awaken the battle skills hidden in their bloodline, and possess various magical abilities. Moreover, demonic beasts were different from martial artists. Demonic beasts did not comprehend the concept of heaven and earth like martial artists, but demonic beasts were naturally inclined towards a certain attribute. They were born to be able to master a certain attribute, and as their strength grew, they would become stronger and stronger. This was a talent that the human race could not compare to. "Break for me!" The long spear swept out, and all the weapons formed by seawater instantly collapsed. A tricolored spear light burst out and shot towards the silver tiger shark's head. Bang! The silver tiger shark was like a cannonball, and was sent flying. Along the way, it directly collided with a few powerful tiger sharks and flew for a few thousand meters before stopping. However, it was not dead yet. On its head, there was only a hole that was a few feet deep. Such strong defense, such hard scales! Lu Ming was secretly surprised. After being stabbed by his spear light, it was actually not penetrated. This tiger shark's defense was astonishing. Strong! This human's attack power is too strong! Hurry up and leave! Lu Ming was surprised, but the silver tiger shark was simply terrified. Once it stabilized its body, it hurriedly flew into the distance. Want to leave? Stay for me! Lu Ming used the 9 Dragons' Heaven stomping steps, and his speed was unbelievably fast. He turned into a stream of light and caught up with the silver tiger shark in a few moves. Want to kill me? Die! Demonic beasts were originally very vicious. Seeing that the silver tiger shark could not escape, the ferocity in its heart was aroused, and it pounced towards Lu Ming. Whoosh! What welcomed him was an incomparably sharp spear. This time, it was not a spear light, but the tip of the infinite dragon spear's corpse. Poochie! The infinite dragon spear directly pierced into the silver tiger shark's head. The silver tiger shark roared and stopped breathing. Poochie! Lu Ming pulled out the long spear and devoured the silver tiger shark's blood essence. At this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. Boom! His body was suffused with a bloody light, emitting a powerful fluctuation. His second bloodline was about to evolve. Lu Ming tried his best to suppress the fluctuation of his second bloodline, trying not to attract attention. Lu Ming felt that the strength of his second bloodline was rapidly increasing. Boom! In the end, his second bloodline could not be suppressed anymore. 8 bright silver rings appeared above his head, shining brightly and attracting the attention of many people. Fortunately, when the second bloodline appeared, it had already evolved successfully. The crowd did not see the process of the evolution, only the result. They thought that Lu Ming originally had an 8th level king bloodline. Although an 8th level king bloodline was extremely shocking, no one paid attention to it in this life and death battle. Lu Ming had never used his bloodline in the previous battles, so everyone thought that Lu Ming originally had an 8th level king bloodline. However, there was one exception, and that was Xian Yanqing. Not far away, Xian Yanqing saw the 8 silver chakras on Lu Ming's bloodline and pouted slightly. When this guy first awakened his second bloodline, he was only a 3rd level king. Now he has become an 8th level king and his bloodline can evolve. This guy is hiding a lot of things from me. Xian Yanqing muttered softly. Kill this girl. At this time, 2 silver-colored tiger sharks charged towards Xian Yanqing. Heavenly Demon Force Field, Destruction Cut! Xian Yanqing shouted as she engaged in a fierce battle with the 2 silver tiger sharks. After a few breaths, Lu Ming withdrew his second bloodline and continued to fight. The battle was intense. The sea was blood-red, and there were corpses of humans and sea beasts floating on it. There were more than 500,000 martial artists above the martial Grand Master realm on Jinsha Island, and more than 50,000 experts above the martial King realm. However, there were even more sea beasts. They were densely packed, covering thousands of miles of sea area and attacking fearlessly. Chapter 665. In fact, the longer the battle went on, the more the human side was at a disadvantage. This was because there were more sea beasts at the peak king level than the human side. Among them, there were many powerful descendants. Take the silver tiger shark for example. Although Lu Ming could kill it, it was a nightmarish existence to other peak kings. I need to kill more peak king level demonic beasts. Otherwise, it will be more and more disadvantageous for the human race. Lu Ming's gaze swept over the battlefield. He didn't need to worry about Xian Yanqing. As long as a Sea of Soul Realm expert didn't appear, Xian Yanqing wouldn't be in danger. Lu Ming took a step forward and disappeared. The next moment, he appeared beside a tiger shark that was a peak-level king. He pierced the tiger shark with his spear and killed it. Then, he took another step forward and attacked the next tiger shark that was a peak-level king. He didn't attack the other tiger sharks and only targeted the peak king-level tiger sharks. Several hundred miles away, 2 old men were being completely suppressed by a silver tiger shark. These 2 old men were also 2 old monsters in the nearby ocean region. They had lived for several hundred years and were extremely powerful. However, the 2 of them together weren't a match for this silver tiger shark. In fact, they couldn't even break through the silver tiger shark's defense. The silver tiger shark didn't fear death and continuously attacked the 2. Pun! One of the old men was struck by the silver tiger shark's tail and was sent flying over 1,000 meters, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. This kind of descendant is too strong. We're not its match at all. The other old man hurriedly retreated. However, the silver tiger shark crazily chased after him and couldn't escape. Could it be that I'm going to die in the mouth of this beast today? The old man sighed. Although he tried his best to defend, he was still struck by the silver tiger shark until he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. My life is over, the old man said in his heart. However, right at this moment, a figure wearing a black robe and a Shura mask suddenly appeared beside the silver tiger shark. A terrifying spear directly pierced through the silver tiger shark's head. Blood splattered everywhere as the silver tiger shark was killed. After that, this figure slapped the silver tiger shark's wound with his palm, and then his figure flashed and disappeared. The old man was dumbfounded. What a powerful attack! The old man who was sent flying by the silver tiger shark's tail flew over, his eyes filled with admiration. They tried their best but were unable to break through the silver tiger shark's defense. But this figure, with a single spear strike, killed the silver tiger shark. This attack power was truly terrifying. That person should be a Jura. I heard that he's a young man. The old man behind him spoke as if he had just woken up from a dream. What a young hero. The old man from before sighed. Let's go and kill those ordinary Peak King level tiger sharks, the old man behind said. Then, the 2 of them charged towards the 2 ordinary Peak King level tiger sharks. The one who made a move to kill the silver tiger shark was naturally Lu Ming. He naturally didn't know what the 2 elders were thinking. At this moment, his target was the Peak King level tiger sharks. In just over 10 minutes, he had already killed 16 Peak King level tiger sharks. What a powerful blood essence. It's too strong. The essence blood of 16 Peak King level tiger sharks was too rich. The essence blood of demonic beasts was usually richer and stronger than that of humans. Lu Ming continued to refine the blood essence as he continued to hunt. This time, he continued to use the essence blood to upgrade his second bloodline. Just now, when his second bloodline upgraded to the 8th grade king level, the mist on the stone steel seemed to have faded a bit, and the words on the stone steel became clearer. There should be 3 words on the stone steel. The first word was suppress. The third word was steal. Only the second word was still a bit blurry. Lu Ming had a feeling that as long as his second bloodline upgraded to the 9th grade king level, he would be able to see the second word clearly. At that time, he might have an unexpected harvest. Lu Ming continued to kill Peak King level demonic beasts while refining the essence blood. On the other side, within the group of blood sharks, a figure wearing a Yama mask was emitting a dazzling golden light. The terrifying golden light flickered as it rampaged through the group of blood sharks. Every time it flickered and a golden sword light flashed, a Peak King level blood shark would be killed. One sword strike to kill. Similarly, wherever Xian Yanqing passed, sea beasts would be killed, regardless of their level. Lu Ming charged for a while, and more than 20 Peak King level tiger sharks had died in his hands. At this time, He killed his way out of the area of the tiger sharks and into the area of the sea lions. Among the sea lions there were also descendants that were extremely powerful, but they were still killed by Lu Ming with one spear strike. Before long, Lu Ming had already devoured the essence blood of more than 30 Peak King-level demonic beasts. Splash! At this moment, the sea rolled and rushed to the shore. In the sea, there were countless huge figures circling. They were actually huge sea snakes. Each of them was dozens of meters long, and their bodies were thicker than a water tank. When they opened their mouths, a martial artist would be swallowed. When their bodies coiled, a martial artist would be entangled to death. Deep-sea giant snake. It's the deep-sea giant snake. Someone exclaimed. What's going on? Another race has appeared. This is too abnormal. How can this be? Ah, watch out. Screams and screams filled the air. Splash! The sea rolled, and everyone saw two huge snakes in the sea. Their bodies were more than 100 meters long, and their powerful auras were extremely shocking. With a swing of their tails, a large number of martial artists were whipped and exploded. Even the Peak King-level experts were the same. They had no power to fight back. These two huge deep-sea snakes were both shape-shifted great beasts. With two shape-shifted great beasts equivalent to Sea of Soul Realm attacking, the human side was in a one-sided situation. Evil beast, you're courting death. In the air, the Han Dao's spirit warrior hadn't made a move yet. At this moment, he shouted coldly and stepped out, walking toward the two shape-shifted great beasts. Xiao! Xiao! Snow-white blade lights flew out. Every time a blade light flew out, a deep-sea giant snake would be killed. When the blade lights flew into the sea water instantly froze and turned into ice. A large number of deep-sea giant snakes were frozen in ice. Peak 3rd level of Sea of Soul Realm. What of the huge deep-sea snakes said solemnly? Since you know, then die. The Han Dao spirit warrior's aura surged as two snow-white blade lights slashed toward the two huge snakes. Old man, I'm your opponent. The waves behind him rolled, and a huge figure rushed out of the sea. Roar! The roar shook the sky. It was the roar of a dragon. Heavens, that's a flood dragon. Many people's eyes widened as they shouted in disbelief. The huge figure that appeared in the end was actually a blue flood dragon. This flood dragon's body was long and winding, more than 200 meters long. It had 4 claws under its abdomen, and its aura was terrifying. This was a real flood dragon, a living flood dragon with the bloodline of a true dragon. Lu Ming also looked over in shock. This was his first time seeing a living flood dragon. He had seen a dead one once, refined into a demonic corpse by the Sky Corpse sect. Chapter 666. The two waterspouts turned into two flood dragons, clashing with the blade light of Han Dao's spirit. Both were annihilated. Roar! The flood dragons roared, and their blue, jade-like bodies pounced toward Han Dao's spirit. Han Dao's spirit had a powerful aura, and the snow-white blade aura danced around him, seemingly freezing the space. An icy saber radiance slashed toward the flood dragon. The flood dragon grabbed the saber light with its claw. Boundless energy surged out, tearing the surrounding sea beasts and human cultivators into pieces. Let's go up and fight! Han Dao's spirit flew up into the sky, and so did the flood dragons. At their level, fighting on the ground would cause too much of an impact, and it would affect the other humans and beasts. Rumble! Han Dao's spirit and the flood dragons fought all the way to the sky. However, the battle in the sea was even more intense. The sea beasts had joined the deep-sea giant snake clan, and their battle power had increased greatly, completely suppressing the humans. The deadliest thing was that the deep-sea giant snake clan had 2 spiritual sea-level beasts. They were so strong that no one could stop them. With a casual twist of their huge bodies, a large number of humans were killed. The 2 deep-sea giant snakes rampaged among the humans, and no one could stop them. Screams and wails resounded everywhere. Retreat! Retreat! 2 Sea of Soul Realm beasts! We can't stop them! Retreat! Someone yelled, not daring to stop them, and frantically retreated. In this way, the humans' defensive formation was completely messed up, and the sea beasts kept rushing into the area where the deep-sea giant snakes were. A large number of warriors were killed. This time, there were too many sea beasts, and they were too strong, surpassing all the previous times. Golden Sand Island can't be saved. We can only retreat to other islands. No, we've been on Golden Sand Island for hundreds of years. We can't leave like this. Hold on and wait for help. There were all kinds of cries, but the morale kept dropping. Spiritual sea realm beasts? Lu Ming looked in the direction of the deep-sea giant snakes. Then, he stepped into the air and turned into a beam of light, flying toward the deep-sea giant snakes. In another direction, a golden sword light was also heading towards the deep-sea giant serpent. The two beams of light were extremely fast. Within a dozen breaths, they had already approached the two Sea of Souls realm deep-sea snakes. True Dragon Strike! Lu Ming approached and stabbed out with his spear. A tricolored true dragon roared and danced in the air, pouncing towards one of the deep-sea giant snakes. An ant dares to attack me? You're courting death! The deep-sea giant snake snorted and spat out a black water column toward the tricolor true dragon. Boom! With a violent tremor, the water column and the tricolor true dragon both vanished. However, the deep-sea serpent's advance was also blocked. Not far away, a golden sword light also blocked another deep-sea giant snake. It was the King Yanluo. Lu Ming and the King of Hell were each facing a giant snake from the deep sea. The two deep-sea giant snakes should be at the early stage of the first layer of the 6th grade, which was equivalent to the early stage of the first layer of the spiritual sea realm. Previously, in the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Li Xiaoyun, and Gu Huaxiu had joined forces to injure the Patriarch of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. The Patriarch of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution was at the peak of the first level of the spiritual sea realm. During the battle with the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution's ancestor, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak of the 9th layer of the Martial King realm. Now that he had broken through to the peak of the King realm, his battle strength had greatly increased. Ever since he had broken through, he had not fought with his full strength. Now, this deep-sea giant snake was just right. Who is it? Who blocked the deep-sea giant snake? It's the King of Hell and Azura. Are they going to fight the Sea of Souls realm monsters? It's possible. Both of their battle powers are extremely terrifying. If the two of them are able to block the two giant snakes, we will have a chance. Martial King realm monsters at the spiritual sea realm? Is it possible? Whatever, we can only try. Let's attack and block the other sea beasts with all our strength. The surrounding human martial artists roared and organized their forces to block the other sea beasts. Azura, let's fight. Let's see who can kill this giant snake first. Suddenly, the King of Hell's voice sounded. It was very young, but it was filled with sharpness. All right, let's fight. Lu Ming's battle intent was also extremely high. Previously, the two of them were apprehensive and did not fight. Now, they could decide the winner through another kind of battle. However, when these words fell into the ears of the two giant snakes, they almost exploded in anger. "And you want to kill us? Go to hell!" In front of Lu Ming, the deep-sea giant snake roared and opened its mouth, trying to devour Lu Ming. In its mouth, the snake's tongue was like a sharp sword, shooting towards Lu Ming. "Kill!" Lu Ming shouted. The three-colored spear turned into a spear light and pierced towards the giant snake. At the same time, the King of Hell and the deep-sea giant snake were also fighting. Clang! The deep-sea giant snake's tongue was like a real sharp sword. When it collided with the spear, the sound of metal clashing could be heard. Swish! At the same time, a snake's tail swept across the void, causing the space to emit a dull sound of air exploding. It whipped towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a step and his figure soared into the sky, dodging the attack of the snake's tail. However, the snake's tail was like an awl attached to a bone. After missing its attack, it continued to whip upwards towards Lu Ming. 9 dragons trampling the sky! A dragon roar sounded, and a terrifying power erupted. Each wave was stronger than the previous one, bombarding the snake's tail. Boom! The snake's tail trembled as if it was enduring an unimaginable power. It kept shaking, and finally, a part of it exploded with a bang. Blood splattered everywhere. The Sea of Soul Realm giant snake is injured. Nearby, other human martial artists saw this and were immediately excited. As if they had seen hope, they roared and charged towards the sea beast. Ant, how dare you injure me? Die, die! The deep-sea giant snake's body curled, and endless seawater turned into sea snakes, pouncing towards Lu Ming. Exploding Star Fist! The infinite dragon's spear disappeared, and Lu Ming executed the exploding Star Fist. Streams of fist light pierced through the void, blasting downwards. This time, Lu Ming merged 3 states into the exploding Star Fist. Its speed was faster, and its explosive power was stronger. Boom! Boom! It was like endless meteors were falling, clashing with the sea snakes formed by seawater. Amid the rumbling, boundless energy overflowed. Once the martial artists and sea beasts nearby were hit, they died miserably on the spot. Leave! Stay away! At the place where Lu Ming and the giant snake were fighting, the other martial artists and sea beasts had already distanced themselves. On the other side, the battle between Hades and the deep-sea giant snake was about the same. Sword chi was everywhere, and the other martial artists and sea beasts had also distanced themselves. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. His fist energy was getting crazier and more intense. In the end, it was almost impossible to see Lu Ming's fist. Only streams of fist light could be seen pouring down. Awesome! Too awesome! Lu Ming's quintessence was boiling, and his battle intent seemed to be burning. This was his true, all-out battle. He did not have any misgivings, and he did not need to suppress his quintessence. He felt that his exploding star fist was getting smoother and smoother. Suddenly, the fist light trembled, and its might seemed to have increased by another level. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.